Chapter 2289. In the center of the ancient bronze gate was a mysterious lightning pattern. Tuoba Yun stepped forward and smashed the door with his mace without saying a word. Xiao Chen's spiked club was a peak inferior grade soul tool, even stronger than Qin Liang's false emperor dragon sword. The bronze door shattered, stirring up a cloud of dust. Goo goo! Goo goo! At the same time, a strange sound rang out, and endless black-armored insects surged out like a wave. Scarab! Xiao Chen and Tuoba Yun both recognized this ferocious beast. It was an ancient wondrous insect that was close to a consummate technique in the Great Thousand Realms. It could chew on divine materials, swallow soul treasures, and spit out poison. It was impervious to fire and water, and weapons would find it hard to injure it. The two's expressions changed slightly. Not daring to be careless, they quickly dodged. Oh my God! Why are there so many sacred beetles? I can't go in. Tuoba Yun sucked in a breath of cold air when he saw the sacred beetles pouring out of the entrance like waves. Clang clang clang. The two of them were naturally unwilling to give up, so they each took action to kill the sacred beetles. It was barely effective and could only push him back, not kill him in one strike. At this rate, if he didn't leave, he might even fall into it and die a horrible death. Tuoba Yun frowned heavily as he observed Xiao Chen's expression, trying to figure something out. The sudden situation left him at a loss as to what to do. He wanted to see if Xiao Chen had any way to deal with these sacred beetles. However, he noticed that the other party's complexion was slightly unsightly, even worse than the others. For some reason, Tuoba Yun felt joy in his heart when he saw Xiao Chen struggling so much. In the end, you are just a too vain sovereign emperor. Tuoba Yun, I will leave first. This inheritance is yours. It was more important to stay alive. It was not easy to deal with these great desolate mutants. Even with all his martial techniques and divine weapons, he felt helpless, his killing power limited. What was even more terrifying was that the sacred beetles were still pouring out of the broken gate and letting out strange cries. F***ck. Seeing Xiao Chen vanish right after he spoke, Tuoba Yun cursed. Ha ha! This brat really wanted to kill him. Hurry up and leave. Boom boom boom. Tuoba Yun brandished the dark, spiked mace in his hand and roared. Then, he forcefully carved out a path and fled. After a while, he confirmed that Tuoba Yun had truly left. A figure slowly appeared in the darkness. Xiao Chen took off the death god mask and reappeared. So he hadn't gone far at all. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. This sudden change had helped him a lot. Demon blood vulture! Xiao Chen shouted and a scarlet light flashed. The demon blood vulture covered in scarlet flames appeared. Roar! It seemed to have endured for a long time. The moment it was summoned, it opened its mouth. Suddenly, a blood-colored vortex appeared in his mouth. It was like a black hole devouring the desolate era's strange species. The sacred beetles, which were initially problematic for Xiao Chen and Tuoba Yun, became a delicacy for the demon blood vulture. Furthermore, it was an extremely rare species of the Great Thousand Worlds, the sacred beetle. Crunch! Crunch! The demon blood vulture chewed continuously as it swallowed, giving off crunching sounds. Ga! 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 How awesome! How awesome! I feel that I can make another breakthrough this time. The demon blood vulture appeared very excited as it did its best to devour these sacred beetles. The scarlet flames on its body burned fiercely, looking like holy flames. With the demon blood vulture here, these sacred beetles were no problem for Xiao Chen. Furthermore, he could use this to shake off Tuoba Yun, the old fogey. This was simply great. Xiao Chen's figure flashed, and he entered the back of the ancient bronze doors. Boom! The berserk thunder flames turned into waves that flowed like water, filling this space. What delighted Xiao Chen was that these thunder flames contained incredibly pure dragon essence. It looked like the Thunder Flame inheritance was here. Congratulations, you have successfully passed my test. A portion of the flowing thunder flames formed a figure, the previous owner of this place. Like the white-clad Yen Emperor that Xiao Chen came into contact with before, this person was a strand of remnant soul that managed the inheritance here. Xiao Chen nodded slightly and did not say anything, waiting for this person to continue. You only grasp the Thunder Great Tao and cannot obtain my entire inheritance, only half, the remnant soul said softly as it sized up Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen did not feel surprised. This was just like the previous ice inheritance. If not for that person's appetite, he would not have obtained the entire inheritance. Clearly, the owner of this inheritance would have a similar request. I'm not interested. Many thanks, Senior. Xiao Chen did not argue. He just accepted it calmly. Whoosh. The remnant soul formed hand seals with both hands, and resplendent electric light burst out from its 10 fingers. It flowed like water, looking very beautiful. What pure Thunder Great Tao energy! Xiao Chen felt startled. This Thunder Great Tao energy was as pure as origin liquid, truly astonishing. After forming the hand seals, the remnant soul took out a jade bottle and poured in the purple electric liquid. Then, it handed it to Xiao Chen. How heavy! Xiao Chen could not help sighing softly as he received the bottle. This is the Thunder Immortal Dew for you. It has the same effect as Origin Liquid, directly improving your Thunder Great Tao. After the remnant soul finished speaking, it pointed with one hand and handed a secret manual to Xiao Chen. After some thought, it said, "This is the Thunder Flame art that I created myself. Anyone who passes the test will obtain it." Thunder Flame art. Xiao Chen felt somewhat bored. If only it were the Thunder Ice art. There is one last inheritance treasure for you. The Great Desolate Aeon Fruit, Heavenly Cloud Fruit. After the remnant soul handed the brocade box to Xiao Chen, it vanished, turning into lightning and flames that merged into the water-like thunder flame. Xiao Chen was not in a rush to leave. He took out a jade strip and started collecting the dragon essence that was everywhere. At the same time, Tuoba Yun rushed back with a depressed expression. This trip was incredibly frustrating, especially when he could not do anything to Xiao Chen at the end. Furthermore, Xiao Chen ordered him around like a dog. Damn it! Don't let me catch that brat. That's not right. I have been walking for so long, but I do not sense any aura left behind by that brat. Tuoba Yun was a wily old fox. He suddenly came to a realization and noticed that something was wrong. After all, Xiao Chen was a two-veined sovereign emperor. Unless he intentionally hid, he should have left behind some aura. Furthermore, Tuoba Yun had fought with Xiao Chen before and was very familiar with his aura. Dong, dong, dong. Just as Tuoba Yun felt uncertain and wondered if he should go back to take a look, footsteps came from ahead. Tuoba Yun immediately collected his thoughts and showed a cautious expression as he looked ahead with an unfathomable expression. In mere moments, 3 people appeared in Tuoba Yun's vision. The leader wore blue and white robes. He had a cold expression and a faint sword intent, exuding a pressing baleful aura. Brother Dao Yin. Tuoba Yun felt a chill as he unknowingly drew his spiked club. Tuoba Yun? The leader was the 8th prince's strongest guest, Dao Yin. Unexpectedly, Tuoba Yun met him here. Dao Yin clearly recognized Tuoba Yun, knowing that he was the 13th prince's strong subordinate. A murderous intent flashed in Dao Yan's heart. The 8th prince and the 13th prince were strong enemies. However, the murderous intent vanished in an instant. This was only the first round. The 8th prince and the 13th prince were far from fighting. Furthermore, the first prince was a common enemy. It was not good for the two to clash so early. Dao Yin smiled and said, "It looks like Brother Tuoba already took away this inheritance. We came here for nothing." Tuoba Yun was a 5-veined sovereign emperor with a great desolate Aeon bloodline. He was not someone a regular 5-veined sovereign emperor could compare to. Since Tuoba Yun made a move, there was no hope for this Thunder Flame inheritance. However, Tuoba Yun was alone. His companions had either died or left. Perhaps, with one glance, Tuoba Yun knew what Dao Yen was thinking. He said calmly, "Given the 8th prince and the 13th prince's alliance, if I obtain the inheritance, logically speaking, I should share some benefits with Brother Dao Yen. At least I won't make Brother Dao Yen come here for nothing." Dao Yen thought to himself, "Tuoba Yun is very reasonable. This is for the best. This will not hurt the friendship and make me feel better. However, I did not obtain the inheritance of this place. I will explain this later. Right now I just want to ask. Along the way, did Brother Dao Yen see the Heavenly Alliance's Shao Chun?" Tuoba Yun asked seriously as a bright light flickered in his eyes. "Shao Chun." A murderous intent flashed in Dao Yan's eyes as he asked softly, "Is he here? I did not see him. Damn it. This brat played me." Tuoba Yun's expression changed drastically when he heard that. Not bothering to explain, he turned and fled. "Follow." Dao Yan's expression flickered as he quickly followed. Chapter 2290. The place where the Thunder Flame inheritance was. After the jade strip in Shao Chen's hand reached 3 dragon images, it stopped increasing. There was clearly still a lot of dragon essence in the water-like Thunder Flame, but it could not increase. Perhaps that remnant soul could be controlled and wanted to preserve the dragon essence for the next successor in the succession race. This is enough. The Thunder Flame inheritance was a peak superior grade inheritance. With some small tricks, Shao Chen managed to fool Tuoba Yun away and monopolize the treasures and resources of this place. This was already a great harvest. What else was there to be dissatisfied with? I nearly forgot. Shao Chen took out 2 jade strips from his storage ring. The jade strips were heavy, and they also contained incredibly vast dragon essence. These were left by Qin Yu and Qin Liang. Earlier, these two relied on their bloodline advantage to move about without fear with Tuoba Yun. After breaking through many inheritances, they clearly gained a lot. Whoosh! Shao Chen transferred the dragon essence in the 2 jade strips to his own jade strip. In that instant, his jade strip gave off a dazzling light. It was crystalline and resplendent. The dazzling light moved people's hearts. Another dragon image swam in the surroundings, causing Shao Chen to reveal a joyful expression. The further one progressed, the harder it was to collect the dragon images in the jade strip. This jade slip with 4 dragons was equivalent to 10 jade slips with only 1 dragon roar. With such a harvest in less than 10 days, Shao Chen's dragon essence definitely surpassed everyone else's. It's time to go. After putting away the jade strip, Shao Chen left the inheritance hall. Crack! The instant Shao Chen stepped out, the shattered bronze door reformed. Shao Chen entered deep thought as he stared at the mysterious thunder pattern in the center of the ancient bronze door for a while. Without any warning, Shao Chen attacked ferociously, striking the thunder pattern. Bang! Shao Chen bounced back. Interesting. Shao Chen was certain that the force of his strike was no weaker than Tuoba Yun's earlier strike. Since Shao Chen could not break the door again, it could only mean that the thunder pattern did not work earlier. Shao Chen gently stroked the thunder mark and closed his eyes. He could feel a strong and powerful force condensing within the thunder mark. Unable to understand it for the time being, Shao Chen took out the stone slab and copied the lightning pattern. If he thought about it in the future, he might be able to gain something. When Shao Chen turned around to look, the sacred beetles that were everywhere had disappeared without a trace. The demon blood vulture probably treated it as a great nourishing pill and directly consumed it. In the center of the hall, a blood cocoon was burning fiercely, and a wave of divine might was faintly discernible. When he focused his gaze, there seemed to be the silhouette of an ancient vermilion bird at the center of the blood cocoon. It looks like the demon blood vulture had a pretty good harvest. When it wakes up again, it should be able to make a breakthrough. With a wave of his hand, Shao Chen placed the blood cocoon into his storage ring. Dong dong dong. Hurried footsteps approached from afar, and a figure appeared like a gust of wind. It was Tuoba Yun who had returned. "You're really here?" Tuoba Yun felt enraged. When he looked around, he saw the bronze doors behind Xiao Chen recover. Tuoba Yun immediately felt so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. "You bastard! To think that you dared to trick me, monopolizing the Thunder Flame inheritance." Xiao Chen's expression did not change, ignoring the enraged Tuoba Yun. He sensed an even more terrifying aura behind him. Whoosh! Indeed, the moment Tuoba Yun finished speaking, Dao Yen appeared with the other two divine sword pavilion experts. Dao Yen. Xiao Chen thought for a while and recalled this person. He had met this person once outside the palace. This was the strongest guest under the 8th Prince Wang Feng, the Divine Sword Pavilion's Vice Pavilion Master. The Divine Sword Pavilion expert who tried to assassinate Xiao Chen in the Smiling Daughter Pavilion might be this person. What a coincidence! Brother Xiao, unexpectedly we meet here. Dao Yen said sinisterly when he saw Xiao Chen, showing a smile that did not seem like a smile. When Tuoba Yun saw this scene, he could not help feeling nervous. Could this Xiao Chen be on good terms with Dao Yen? However, Tuoba Yun relaxed in the next moment. "Do you intend to give up on your own, or do you want me to let you go?" Dao Yen threatened in an indifferent tone. "It looks like you are definitely the Divine Sword Pavilion expert who tried to assassinate me in the Smiling Daughter Pavilion back then." Xiao Chen showed a calm expression as he stared at Dao Yen. "Monarch Yu is one of my final disciples. As his master, it is not a big deal for me to seek justice for my disciple. However, I do not wish to dwell on these grudges. Hand over the Thunder Flame inheritance and the jade strip in your hand, and I can let you off for now." Strength reigned supreme in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Dao Yen did not have any qualms, so he could not be bothered to keep up the pretense. "Sorry, I'm afraid I cannot agree to that." "Die then." Dao Yen snorted coldly, and a strand of sword chi appeared out of nowhere, shooting at Xiao Chen. Whoosh! In that instant, Xiao Chen turned into an ice sculpture, maintaining his earlier posture, not moving at all. Everywhere the sword chi passed, a pillar of ice condensed, looking like it would never melt. Tuoba Yun's expression changed dramatically in shock. 10th layer Dao domain, ice small world. To think that this Dao Yen comprehended the ice Dao domain to the 10th layer. The flowing shadows turned into ice, never melting. Dao Yen frowned slightly. Then, he looked around and discovered Xiao Chen in a different direction. The one that froze earlier was the afterimage that Xiao Chen left behind. Without saying anything, Dao Yen flicked his finger. More than 1,000 sword images with a chilling aura shot out from behind him, looking like flowing light. Whoosh! 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 Xiao Chen's figure turned illusory, continuously flickering. The many afterimages got sealed in ice. In mere moments, hundreds of afterimages were sealed in ice in the hall. The ice pillars formed by the sword images crisscrossed in the air, looking very scary. Crack! Xiao Chen could not dodge in time. In the end, a strand of sword chi struck him. The cold penetrated the dragon armor and injured his physical body. Fortunately, Xiao Chen had awakened his blue dragon divine body once, so he would not die instantly. As Xiao Chen looked at the frost-encroaching alloy dragon armor, he did not get flustered or surprised. While the other party was talking to him, he had already spread his small world of ice soundlessly throughout this space. It was only a matter of time before Xiao Chen got struck when fighting in this small world. Dao Yan's cultivation was only one grade higher than Tuoba Yun's. However, the combat prowess that he displayed was worlds apart. A 10th layer Dao domain and an ice small world could indeed inspire despair. You can only blame your greed for meeting me so early, overestimating yourself, and wanting to monopolize a superior grade inheritance. I'll give you one last chance. Are you going to give me the Thunder Flame inheritance or not? Dao Yen threatened again when he saw that he had already injured Xiao Chen. Dao Yen feared that Xiao Chen would give up and leave the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. If that happened, he would not gain any benefits at all. Overestimating myself? I have many flaws, but I have never been arrogant. Dao Yan, you can't scare me. Xiao Chen's body trembled. As electric light flickered, he scattered the frost on his body. The divine lightning talisman in his palm slowly appeared under the sea in his soul pool. The talisman formed by the immortal epic's 10,000 tribulation divine lightning revealed a tip of the iceberg. With just a tip, the strongest divine lightning of the previous epic burst out with horrifying lightning-attributed energy. Boom! The divine lightning talisman in Xiao Chen's palm soared into the sky and instantly broke Dao Yan's small world. Then, it did not lose momentum. As boundless electric light flashed, the talisman broke the small world of the Thunder Flame inheritance. Kaxie! Kaxie! In that instant chaos reigned. Dao Yan's ice small world shook. The eternal ice pillars in the air shattered, turning into a terrifying storm of ice and snow wreaking havoc. Xiao Chen's figure flashed, and he leaped up through the hole the divine lightning talisman broke. You want to leave? It's not that easy. The sudden situation startled Dao Yan. He gave chase with a ferocious roar. Fiendish saber inheritance, water droplet breaking the firmament. Saber intent gathered in Xiao Chen's entire body. He flicked his finger and a water droplet shot out. This water droplet looked unremarkable amid the many berserk ice storms. The raging Dao Yan did not notice it. He only had eyes for Xiao Chen. Bang! This water droplet landed silently on Dao Yan's chest, and the water droplet exploded. Immediately, an unparalleled berserk saber intent shook the entire palace. Before the saber intent that spread out, the surrounding ice storms only lasted for a moment before shattering into ice shard. Dao Yan vomited blood and fell heavily to the ground, breaking the restrictions there. Amidst the rumbling, a huge pit appeared in the ground, and a terrifying, water-like thunder flame crazily overflowed. Dao Yan held his hand over his chest. Then, he looked at his hand, at the blood on it. Dao Yan found it unbelievable that Xiao Chen managed to injure him. Furthermore, the injuries were not light. Senior brother, the inheritance's self-destruct restriction has been activated. We have to leave quickly. The expressions of Dao Yan's two junior brothers changed drastically as they looked at the thunder flames scattering everywhere. As for Tuoba Yun, the saber intent had knocked him back. When he saw the scattered thunder flames, he fled in fright. Damn it! However, Dao Yan seemed to have gone mad. He roared with all his might, and his fine black hair instantly turned snow white. A boundless cold light burst out of Dao Yan's body. Whoosh! 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 In the next moment, the thunder flames that even Tuoba Yun found horrifying were sealed in ice. If someone looked from outside, the entire palace would be covered in frost. The endless lightning bolts in the sky looked like spears sealed in ice. This startled the two from the Divine Sword Pavilion. They had not expected their senior brother's true strength to be so strong. Xiao Chen, don't let me see you again, Dao Yan said through clenched teeth with a sullen expression, enunciating every word. However, no matter how sullen or furious Dao Yan felt, Xiao Chen had already left with the Thunder Flame inheritance. Chapter 2291. With the Divine Lightning Talisman supporting his Thunder Dao domain, Xiao Chen broke through two small worlds and left the inheritance palace. Whoosh! Xiao Chen's figure flickered, and he left a purple lightning mark in the air as he quickly flew away. An hour later, after confirming that no one was chasing after him, Xiao Chen lightly tapped the air and landed steadily like a swallow. Maintaining high-intensity flight in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb drained divine energy. Since there was no longer any threat, there was naturally no need to waste divine essence. The ground was a wasteland, with sporadic ferocious beasts moving about. Occasionally, some hanger-ons could be seen searching for inheritances in the distance. This place could be considered safe. So. Rising and falling, Xiao Chen leaped continuously, and after a while, He landed on a barren mountain. He used his divine sense to scan the surroundings, and after confirming it carefully, he set up a simple camouflage array according to the surrounding environment. At this point, Xiao Chen was completely relieved. Lightning flashed, and the alloy dragon armor turned into a mercury-like flowing light that entered the glove. Looking at the wound on his chest that had yet to heal, Xiao Chen frowned slightly. A sovereign emperor who condensed a 10th-layer Dao domain was far stronger than Xiao Chen imagined. One strand of sword qi equaled a peak strike from a regular person. With the 10th-layer Dao domain, one's great Dao energy already underwent a qualitative change. Without reaching that level, it would be hard for others to truly understand the horrifying might of a 10th-layer Dao domain. Unfortunately, it became increasingly difficult to raise one's Dao domain. Dao Yen could be considered extremely talented. He had an exceptional understanding of the Ice Dao, but he had spent more than 300 years before he had a major breakthrough. Without a great fortuitous encounter, Xiao Chen wanted to advance to the 10th-layer Dao domain and form a small world. He could only rely on time, 100 years, 1,000 years to slowly grind and slowly comprehend. However, there would be no more than 3 experts like Dao Yen in the entire ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Let's take a look at the harvest first. A great desolate Aeon heavenly essence fruit, a bottle of lightning immortal dew, and a peak divine vein cultivation technique, thunder flame art. Heavenly origin fruit. The pure white heaven origin fruit was adorned with green leaf. Its radiance was reserved, and it contained an incomparably surging spiritual energy. However, not a single trace of it leaked out. When Xiao Chen sent his spiritual sense into the fruit, he found that there was a universe inside. It was enormous and vast, and traces of the passage of time could be seen everywhere. It was crystalline, translucent, and suffused with a pure primordial aura. Xiao Chen vaguely sensed that this mutated fruit could help him break through to peak 2-vein sovereign emperor. This might even allow his 10,000 dragons art to break through to the 3rd layer. The great desolate Aeon Qi contained in it was the key to the 10,000 dragons art's breakthrough. The cultivation of the 10,000 dragons art sought the source, reversing the bloodline to its ancestor, improving one's bloodline step by step. After breaking through to the 5th layer, it could be upgraded to the ancestral dragon art. After withdrawing his spiritual sense, Xiao Chen thought to himself, what a pity. If the 3rd palace master had refined this into a medicinal pill, he would have been able to perfectly display its medicinal properties. It would be a waste to refine it on the spot. However, Xiao Chen had no choice. If he wanted to survive in this ancient Yen Emperor tomb, he had to continuously strengthen himself. Especially after encountering Dao Yen, it made Xiao Chen feel that his own strength was insufficient. He didn't want to encounter the other party again and be forced to go far away. Outsiders might think that to be able to escape from Dao Xuan's hands was an incredible thing. However, in Xiao Chen's eyes, it was not worth being proud of at all. Xiao Chen stopped hesitating and directly swallowed the heavenly yuan fruit. The mutated fruit melted in his mouth, and vast spiritual energy erupted wildly, surging in his body like a raging river. If one's cultivation was insufficient, one's physical body would not be strong enough. The instant one swallowed this fruit, one's body would explode, dying on the spot. Xiao Chen had the blue dragon divine body and dual cultivated divine and demonic. Naturally, he did not fear this. Xiao Chen calmly sensed the explosive energy coming from the heavenly yuan fruit. He circulated the 10,000 dragons art calmly, circulating the 10,000 dragons art. As the 10,000 dragons art circulated, the spiritual energy and great desolate Aeon Qi in the mutated fruit entered Xiao Chen's divine energy sea through his 2 divine veins. Boom! The instant the spiritual energy from the heavenly yuan fruit landed, the raging sea surged, and the rocks shattered. Shocking waves surged in this divine energy sea. A horrifying aura erupted from Xiao Chen's body. Crack! A certain shackle in Xiao Chen's body broke, and a brand new divine vein appeared in his body. Xiao Chen should have broken through back at the Black Mountain Range. Now, he finally became a three-veined sovereign emperor. However, the spiritual energy and great desolate Yin Qi in the heavenly Yuan fruit did not stop, continuing to pour in. Xiao Chen held his breath and focused, not daring to relax at all. Xiao Chen's breakthrough in cultivation was expected. He had long since broken through the shackles of a two-veined sovereign emperor. Now it was just a matter of time. The most important thing was the 10,000 Dragons arts breakthrough. This was the crux. If Xiao Chen did not grasp this opportunity, he might not find another opportunity to make a breakthrough in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. As Xiao Chen refined the mutated fruit, the depressed Tuoba Yun returned to the 13th prince's side. Tuoba Yun, you came back at a good time. What happened to my two uncles? The Dragon God Crown Prince Qin Ming immediately asked when he saw Tuoba Yun. They were both royal members of the Golden Dragon race, so their bloodlines were connected. Qin Ming vaguely sensed that something had happened to his two uncles. Seeing that only Tuoba Yun returned, Qin Ming's expression immediately turned somewhat gloomy. Sorry, Brother Qin Yu and Brother Qin Liang died at Xiao Chen's hands. Tuoba Yun was rather magnanimous. The two's deaths did not have much to do with him. As for Tuoba Yun's agreement with Xiao Chen, it was a temporary cooperation after the two died. It was not a big mistake. Aside from this matter, he told Qin Ming everything else in detail. They died just like that? My two uncles were four-veined sovereign emperors. Furthermore, they had the Emperor Dragon Sword. Even if they could not defeat Xiao Chen, they should not have died. Clearly, Qin Ming had not expected Tuoba Yun to bring him the worst-case scenario. What's wrong? You don't believe me? Tuoba Yun felt very depressed in the first place. When he saw Qin Ming's attitude, he immediately felt upset. You are the Dragon God Crown Prince, and hold a noble status in the Divine Dragon Empire. However, I am a member of the Heavenly Wolf Empire's royal clan. You cannot control me. Qin Ming stared at Tuoba Yun with a sullen expression. Then, the pressure of a golden emperor dragon pressed over. This fellow Tuoba Yun felt some pressure, feeling incredibly shocked in his heart. He had not expected Qin Ming to be so young. Unexpectedly, Qin Ming possessed such a terrifying dragon might at such a young age. Sikong Shu, who was dressed in a straw raincoat, frowned and said, Brother Tuoba should be telling the truth. Xiao Chen? Xiao Chen did not dare to openly attack him in Yen City. However, he will not be able to be arrogant in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. The 13th Prince Wang Yi smiled faintly. After some thought, he said, Brother Qin, there's no need to get angry. I'll help you take revenge. Qin Ming startled to his senses. He knew that this was not the time to get angry. Sorry, Big Brother Tuoba offended me earlier. Your Highness, there is no need to mobilize so many people for such a small matter. I can deal with it myself. It's just a small matter. In the end, I am somewhat responsible for Qin Yu and Qin Liang's death. Tuoba Yun released his bated breath and apologized when he saw the situation. However, Wang Yi did not intend to leave the matter at that. He smiled and said, That's not the case. Brother Qin, think about it. Is there a chance to kill him after we leave the ancient Yen Emperor tomb? Qin Ming thought to himself as he looked around. It would be very difficult to kill Xiao Chen outside. This was clear from the two previous assassinations that failed. Your Highness, do you have a good plan? It is not easy to find a person in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Seeing Wang Yi's solemn and confident look, Qin Ming took the opportunity to ask. Let's hear what this person has to say. Wang Yi took 2 steps forward and said, It is not easy to find guests, but it is easy to find a prince. Qin Ming's eyes lit up in understanding. Whether the princes drew their Yen imperial swords in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb or not, they all contained vast luck. They all contained vast amounts of dragon luck, which was clearly different from ordinary guests. As long as we find the ninth prince, we don't have to worry about Xiao Qin not showing up. At that time, Qin Ming will not have a chance to make a move. The moment Wang Yi said that, Bai Yunfei and Xiahou Zun, who were beside Qin Ming, felt excited. Such a plan was indeed an opportunity to force Xiao Qin to show up. Wang Yi continued, even if Xiao Qin does not show up, it does not matter. We can use this opportunity to destroy that Wang Yan and collect his dragon essence. Perhaps this was Wang Yi's true purpose. Qin Ming did not say anything. He, Bai Yunfei, and the others all looked at Sikong Shu. This plan is feasible. Sikong Shu slowly opened his mouth and only said 4 words. Chapter 2292. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed in the succession race in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. The fierce competition had reached a white-hot stage. After the first round, 1/3 of the princes would be eliminated. Even if one had no intention of becoming the crown prince, surviving a few more rounds would increase their chances of obtaining valuable treasures in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Obviously, no one was willing to be eliminated in the first round. In the ancient pine forest, the ninth prince Wang Yan, the heavenly book scholar, Hao Kai and Senior Feng worked together, calculating the dragon essence they collected. Your Highness, the dragon essence we've collected is enough to last us through this round. The heavenly book scholar took inventory of the dragon essence the others collected. Wang Yan nodded. In that case, there is no need to take too many risks in the remaining time. Ninth Prince, I've felt that something is wrong for the past few days. There are always people approaching us in the dark, as if they are purposely searching for us. Elder Feng's expression was grave, and worry could be seen on his face. The Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai said calmly, I sensed it as well. However, Senior Feng's attainments in the Wind Great Tao are pretty good. It seems like he managed to shake off these people. I'm just lucky. With such repeated searches, it's only a matter of time before I'm exposed. Elder Feng did not try to claim credit for himself. Instead, he spoke honestly. Wang Yan narrowed his eyes slightly as he said, I also sensed it. Hence, I did not want to compete for the inheritance for the rest of the time. To be safe, we should find a secluded place and hide for a while. Changji, what do you think? When the heavenly book scholar saw that Xiao Chen was asking him, he replied calmly, I still do not know what the situation is. I also do not know who the enemy is. It is best to remain still. Then it settled. After the ninth prince Wang Yan made up his mind, he asked, right now, which guests are still in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb? The heavenly book scholar thought for a while before saying, something unexpected happened to several people. Right now, only Xiao Suo, Qin Zhuolin, Wu Meng, and the lone Xiao Qin are still around. Your Highness, are you planning to summon them here? He had already sensed that someone was spying on him. Gathering these guests was undoubtedly the safest method. Unexpectedly, Wang Yan only asked casually and did not agree. There's no need. The fortuitous encounters in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb might change their lives. I haven't reached a critical juncture of life and death, so there's no need to summon it back. Moreover, forcefully summoning it back will consume a lot of dragon essence. Wang Yan glanced at the heavenly book scholar and said, I'll leave my safety to the 3 of you. Your Highness, please rest assured. Wang Yan had already sensed that a prince was secretly searching for him. However, he did not know who it was. He wasn't too nervous in his heart. He was rather calm and had a trace of the calmness of a king. Somewhere on a desolate mountain in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb, as Xiao Chen refined the heaven essence fruit on the spot, the image of a blue dragon almost overlapped with his physical body. Around the blue dragon, the dragon roar rang out endlessly. This was the 10,000 dragons picture manifested with his own blue dragon as the leader. The great desolate Yanqi surged in Xiao Chen's body. The breakthrough of the 10,000 dragons art's second layer had already reached the crucial moment. All of a sudden, a strange phenomenon occurred. The great desolate Ian Chi from the heavenly yuan fruit poured into the blue dragon. The originally faint dragon image gradually became more substantial. Azure light flared, and dragon might soared. Boom! Aside from the blue dragon, the other 10,000 dragon images shattered, turning into drops of spiritual blood. The drops of spiritual blood looked like rain, hovering in the air. In the next moment, the thousands of drops of spiritual blood entered the only remaining azure dragon image. The faint dragon image slowly turned solid and lifelike, looking like it came to life and filled with spirituality. An ancient great desolate Aeon aura transcended time and space, descending from the distant past to the present. There seemed to be an ancient dragon domain behind Shaoqin, hidden in heavy fog. The group of dragons roared. 10,000 dragons roared. The moment he opened his eyes. The instant Shaoqin opened his eyes, the fog scattered, and a blue dragon's head peeked out. The dragon's eyes stared at Shaoqin. If anyone else were here, they would feel heavy pressure. Shaoqin vaguely felt a force calling out to him. The blue dragon bloodline buried deep in Shaoqin's body awakened. A hot berserk energy spread throughout his body, making his bloodline as hot as lava. Amid the call of that ancient dragon voice, Shaoqin's dragon blood surged, burning fiercely. Shaoqin could no longer hold back. He opened his eyes and saw the sky shattering. In that shattered corner, Shaoqin's vision seemed to transcend time and space, seeing an ancient dragon nation. Dragons roared. 10,000 dragons roared. Berserk dragons filled the sky and the ground. The many living dragons materialized a mythical nation. Suddenly, one of the dragons raised its head from the sea of dragons. That dragon's gaze traveled from the past to the future, then met Shaoqin's eyes. Immediately, Shaoqin's heart trembled. The depths of his soul stirred, and his entire body trembled. Then, he suddenly startled awake. Everything was normal, there was nothing. It was like everything from earlier was an illusion, fleeting and fleeting, disappearing in the blink of an eye. However, that scene was simply too shocking. With just one look, it was imprinted in the depths of his soul. At this moment, Shaoqin seemed to understand why many of the dragon race seniors wanted to start a divine dragon dynasty. It was because the dragon race had a glorious history, once shining like the many stars in the sky, illuminating an era. Shaking his head, Shaoqin stopped thinking about the shock he just experienced. After returning to reality, Shaoqin muttered to himself, "The 10,000 dragons art should have broken through to the third layer. However, the mental cultivation method for the third layer is missing, so I can't cultivate it for now. However, the change that it brings is beyond my expectations." 10,000 dragons picture. With a thought, a dragon picture appeared behind Shaoqin. However, this dragon picture was very different from before, completely different. Originally, it was a picture of the blue dragon, a vast picture of 10,000 dragons contending for the top. Now, the vast background remained, but only the blue dragon remained. In the past, there were too many dragon images. Even the blue dragon was just a blurry silhouette, only a rough outline. Now, the blue dragon's figure appeared clearly, down to the smallest detail. The dragon scales, dragon claws, and dragon spirit could be seen at a glance, without missing any details. The dragon's eyes had spirituality, and its charm was withdrawn. It was like a living blue dragon. Shaoqin smiled faintly and circulated the 10,000 dragons art. Then, the picture immediately shattered. The blue dragon leaped out of the vast picture, looking like it had descended from ancient times as it circled around Shaoqin. Dragon might spread out from Shaoqin's body. This was the true divine might of the blue dragon from the ancient great desolate Aeon. The cultivation of the 10,000 dragons art traced its origins step by step, reversing one's bloodline and returning to one's ancestry. One could cultivate it with any dragon race bloodline. When one reached the third layer, one would materialize a divine dragon unique to one's bloodline. With one more step, the divine dragon would return to its ancestry and become a great desolate Aeon ancestor dragon. Shao Qin felt satisfied with the current divine dragon might. He said softly, "Given this, it will be much easier for me to execute the god-demon body unsealing technique." One heavenly essence fruit allowed Shao Qin to break through to 3-vein sovereign emperor and the 10,000 dragons art to the 3rd layer. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, greatly improving his strength. After taking out the lightning immortal dew, Shao Qin did not think too much and poured it in. It was as that remnant soul said. This lightning immortal dew had a similar effect to origin liquid, pure and without any side effect. Shao Qin poured in 1 cubic meter of lightning immortal dew to strengthen his Dao domain. Then, Shao Qin felt his peak 5th layer Thunder Dao domain expand at a visible rate. Then, it suddenly erupted, breaking through peak 5th layer and advancing to the 6th layer. Shao Qin's cultivation technique, and Dao domain all made breakthroughs. Everything felt like a dream. However, it was not too exaggerated. After all, this was before he entered the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Shao Qin's cultivation technique, and Dao domain had already been stuck at bottlenecks for a long time. Now that his strength had made consecutive breakthroughs, it would not be easy for his strength to soar within a short period. There were so many benefits to monopolizing a superior grade inheritance that surprised Shao Qin. There was still the thunder flame art, which conflicted with his cultivation technique. So, Shao Qin did not intend to comprehend it. However, there was no harm in taking a look. The instant Shao Qin flipped open the title page, he frowned slightly, feeling stunned for a moment. The first thing that entered Shao Qin's eyes was a lightning pattern, exactly the same as the mysterious lightning pattern on the ancient bronze doors. As Shao Qin flipped through the pages, his expression turned increasingly grave. After a while, he suddenly closed the book. This lightning pattern was the outline of a seal called the Thundercloud Lock. One could grasp this seal and condense this lightning pattern only by grasping the Thunder Great Tao and the Fire Great Tao. I do not need to grasp this lightning pattern. However, since I understand the principles behind it, can it help me open that bronze door again? Shao Qin's eyes lit up as he thought of a possibility. I'll try it out first. Shao Qin immediately took action after thinking about it. He soared into the air and rushed back to the Thunder Flame inheritance. Chapter 2293. Shao Qin's strength soared. He advanced to 3-vein Sovereign Emperor. His Thunder Dao domain broke through to the 6th layer, his Ice domain reached the 4th layer, and his 10,000 dragons art broke through to the 3rd layer. Compared to when Shao Qin first entered the ancient Yen Emperor tomb, he could be said to have undergone a complete transformation, looking completely different. If Shao Qin fought Tuoba Yun again, he would not have to worry about severely injuring him and could suppress him at will. As for someone like Dao Yen, he could fight boldly and bring out all his trump cards. It would be hard to say who would win or lose. His figure soared into the air. 4 hours later, he returned to the Thunder Flame inheritance. Then, he fell in through the hole he made. Before the surrounding ice scattered, Dao Yen attacked in a rage before he left, sealing the berserk Thunder Flame in ice. In the main hall, many weird ice pillars were formed. Footprints covered the ground, turning the place into a mess. It was not hard to guess that during this period of time, there would be other guests who would come here one after another. However, they had all been blocked by the ancient bronze door and had to return empty-handed. Whoosh! After observing for a while, Shao Qin's figure flashed, appearing like he teleported to the ancient door amid a flash of electric light. Then, he stretched out his hand and touched the mysterious lightning pattern. According to the records in the Thunder Flame art, one had to cultivate this cultivation technique in order to grasp this seal. Shao Qin only cultivated the lightning-attributed Great Tao and the ice-attributed Great Tao. Clearly, he could not cultivate the Thunder Flame art and grasp this seal. This seal sealed an area. Even Dao Yen could not break it. Forcefully breaking it would not succeed. He could only use his wits. Xiao Chen let go, and the thunder great Dao energy circulated in his body. Circles of Dao patterns spread out, and electricity crackled and flickered continuously. The Dao might shook the area. The Dao might spread out, and the surrounding ice pillars sealing the thunder flame trembled slightly. Then ice shards fell off. Whoosh! Xiao Chen used his thunder Dao domain to support it. Then, he simulated the same lightning pattern on his fingertip before gently touching it. Xiao Chen touched the center of the ancient bronze door, and a loud sound rang out. Blood leaked out of Xiao Chen's mouth as he went flying, nearly crashing into the ice pillar. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's movement technique was agile, allowing him to change his position. Whoosh! Xiao Chen moved like a phantom, weaving through the strange ice pillars. Then, he landed before the ancient bronze door. It failed. What's wrong? Frowning, Xiao Chen fell into deep thought. He took out the thunder flame art and started reading it again. Thud, thud, thud. He tried a few more times, but all of them ended in failure. Instead, he suffered some light injuries. No wonder even Dao Yen had chosen to give up. Even though he had grasped the thunder flame art, it was still so difficult. If this still doesn't work, then we really have to give up. Xiao Chen muttered to himself. He planned to use the universe origin true flame to replace the fire Dao domain and imitate this seal together with the thunder Dao domain. Suddenly, a wisp of primordial true fire rose from his palm. Xiao Chen's expression was solemn as he stared straight at this wisp of flame. Xiao Chen used the Thunder Flame Art's secret technique to drive the Thunder Dao domain. In an instant, thunder and lightning crackled around the flames on his palm. The instant the thunder and flames merged, the mysterious thunder mark appeared on Xiao Chen's palm, disappearing in a flash. Pah! In 1/10,000th of a second, Xiao Chen grasped that fleeting opportunity and pressed his palm on the ancient, bronze door's thunder mark. The thunder mark radiated light, and talisman scripts appeared on the ancient, bronze door. Then, surging lightning-attributed energy spread out from the ancient door. Rumble! A loud sound rang out, and the entire thunder flame hall shook endlessly, looking like it was on the verge of collapse. The originally frozen thunder flame came to life, and ice shards fell like snow. Crack! Crack! Xiao Chen's eyes lit up as the ancient bronze door opened. He gently pushed off with his feet, breaking the rules of this body's owner and charging back. Whoosh! Before Xiao Chen could do anything, the remnant soul that he saw earlier appeared before Xiao Chen. However, this remnant soul's figure was dim and incredibly weak. It did not react much to Xiao Chen's appearance. What's wrong? Xiao Chen asked seriously when he saw that the remnant soul's state was not right. The remnant soul replied calmly, "When you fought with that person from the Divine Sword Pavilion, you already broke the restrictions that I left back then. Before that person left, he sealed the rampaging thunder flame in ice. That will only stabilize it for a while." Xiao Chen thought very quickly, and he soon understood. The thunder flame inheritance would be like the ice inheritance, completely collapsing. After that, he would no longer be able to enter. However, that white-clad Yen Emperor had taken the initiative to destroy the inheritance before giving it to Xiao Chen. This remnant soul before Xiao Chen was passive. The collapse of the thunder flame inheritance was not under its control. Since that is the case, why don't you give me all the treasures of the inheritance, the medicinal pills, and the secret treasures? Xiao Chen thought, the hall is going to be destroyed. Rather than dying with it, I might as well be a good person and give them to myself. You are not the person I chose. Even though you entered this hall twice, you are not the person I am waiting for. The remnant soul remained calm when faced with Xiao Chen's somewhat shameless request. It said indifferently, "Aside from the dragon essence, which I cannot leave behind, the other treasures will be destroyed. Take care." Boom! Right after the remnant soul spoke, it vanished completely. At the same time, the entire hall went out of control. The thunder flames' berserk charge caused the neighboring halls to explode. The explosions looked like fireworks in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb, attracting everyone's attention. Xiao Chen felt somewhat depressed. If he were a prince, perhaps the result would be different. However, since he came, he could not leave empty-handed. The result was within Xiao Chen's expectations. What caught his eye was the vast dragon essence hidden in the thunder flame. The dragon essence in this hall far surpassed the other inheritances that Xiao Chen knew. Back then, the remnant soul had controlled it, preventing Xiao Chen from absorbing too much. Now, he could accept it without any worries. Rumble. The thunder flame inheritance was a superior grade inheritance, and it exploded. When many people saw this, they felt that it was unfortunate. In the future succession race, this inheritance would be removed from the list of inheritances. No one knew that Xiao Chen was happily collecting vast amounts of dragon essence amid the tragic fireworks explosion. The ancient Yen Emperor tomb was boundlessly vast. Many princes and guests could see the shock waves from the thunder flame inheritance's explosion. However, even more princes and guests could not sense it. For example, the 9th Prince Wang Yan and the Heavenly Book Scholar, who accompanied him, did not know. Your Highness, this is Black Wind Ridge, a forbidden land of the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Aside from the lingering sinister winds and baleful aura, there are no inheritances or dragon essence here. This is a rather ideal place to hide, the Heavenly Book Scholar said to Wang Yan as he pointed to the surroundings. It would be hard to find such a desolate place in an ancient blessed land like the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. Dark clouds covered the place, and sinister winds blew endlessly. The spiritual energy here was thin, and weeds grew everywhere. Wang Yan showed a calm expression as he looked into the distance. The sinister winds howled like ghosts in the boundless darkness. Wang Yan showed a calm expression as he looked into the distance. The sinister winds howled like ghosts in the boundless darkness. If this person really wants to kill me, he will still chase me even in this horrifying forbidden land. Wang Yan did not show any worry or anxiety on his face. He only felt confused. Who in the world is in such a rush to eliminate me in the first round? The Heavenly Book Scholar remained silent for a while. He knew that Wang Yan was right, so he consoled. Your Highness, there is no need to worry. Given our current strength, there is no need to be so cautious. However, there is no need to expose our strength in the first round and suffer losses. Wang Yan smiled faintly and said, You might think that, but others might not. The more we try to avoid it, the more they will push their luck. I understand those brothers of mine too well. Just at this moment, Senior Feng frowned slightly and said, Your Highness, I'm afraid we will have to leave again. The Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai looked around. After some thought, he said, I sense some strong auras. Wang Yan showed a grave expression as he shifted his gaze from the depths of Black Wind Ridge. Then, he said indifferently, We're not leaving. I want to see who is so overbearing. Wang Yan's repeated concessions had already crossed Wang Yan's bottom line. Wang Yan frequently guarded the borders, charging into battle, taking the lead. He had never been someone afraid of death. He had always been very reserved in the imperial capital, not competing with others. However, some people seem to have forgotten that he cultivated one of the most cold-blooded and emotionless Great Tao massacre. Chapter 2294. I'm not retreating anymore. Aside from pushing Wang Yan's bottom line, the other princes would catch up to me sooner or later. The other princes would definitely sense Wang Yan holding the Yen Imperial sword in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. No matter where Wang Yan hid, unless he gave up on becoming the crown prince, someone would catch up to him sooner or later. Since that was the case, Wang Yan might as well face them head-on. Right after Wang Yan spoke, the churning dark clouds in the sky scattered without any warning. A flash of golden light illuminated the surroundings. Xiao Chen squinted his eyes and looked over. When everyone looked over, There was indeed a golden dragon image soaring through the sky. Its tyrannical dragon might layered over the sky, encasing this space. In an instant, a heavy pressure descended on everyone, causing their hearts to sink. The dragon god crown prince, Qin Ming. Hao Kai said softly, his expression changing slightly as he immediately recognized the figure in the air. What's wrong? Senior Feng asked, not knowing much about this Qin Ming. Hao Kai replied after some thought, this Qin Ming is the purple gold dragon emperor's proudest son. He possesses a grade 7 golden dragon bloodline. Practically no one in the younger generation of our 8 great empires can outshine him. He is considered the person most likely to become the next dragon emperor. Hence, he is called the Dragon God Crown Prince. Boom! Before Hao Kai finished speaking, a wolf howl rang out in the north. Tuoba Yuan held the mace in his hand and walked over with heavy footsteps, one step at a time. Rumble! With every step, the ground trembled. Tuoba Yuan brought out his 5-vein sovereign emperor cultivation to its limit. From a distance, he looked like a tall mountain, giving off heavy pressure. Pu Chi! 10,000 miles ahead, the ground suddenly exploded, and a white snake with a body as large as a mountain appeared. A white snake the size of a mountain flickered with resplendent electric light as it burrowed out of the ground. A handsome white-clad person stood on its head. Roars came from the south. When one looked over, a huge great desolate Aeon holy beast image soared into the sky. It was the Hound Lion Empire's crown prince, Xiahozun. He had used his bloodline to force out the Hound Lion's ferocious might. Little 13. Wang Yan frowned slightly. Although he had not seen the 13th Prince Wang Yi yet, these 4 people appeared. The person hiding behind the scenes, who had been forcing him to the Forbidden Land, Black Wind Ridge, was also on the verge of appearing. Aside from the 13th Prince Wang Yi, no one else could send these 4 to be the vanguard. So. Qin Ming was bathed in golden light. Dragon shadows revolved around him as he slowly descended from the sky. Bai Yunfei, Xiahozun, and Tuoba Yuan stood side by side, looking down at Wang Yan and the others from the air. Xiao Chun is not here. The Heavenly Book scholar, Wang Yan, and the other 3 at Black Wind Ridge were clearly visible. Xiao Chen was nowhere to be seen. Disappointment immediately flashed in Qin Ming's eyes. He looked around and fixed his gaze on Wang Yan. Then, he said, attack. He did not waste any time. After confirming that Xiao Chen was not around, he immediately made his move. Protect His Highness. This caused the Heavenly Book scholar's expression to change. His figure flashed, and he shielded Wang Yan. Can you protect it? Qin Ming took the lead and punched with the Emperor Dragon Fist. As his dragon might soared, a golden dragon image appeared resplendent and dazzling. Pu Ci. The Heavenly Book scholar barely managed to block this fist technique, which was known as the most ferocious offensive technique. Then, he vomited blood. The Heavenly Book scholar's cultivation was not low. However, he was skilled in the Fate Dao. In a real fight, there was a clear gap between him and a heaven-defying outstanding talent like Qin Ming. Rumble! On the other side, Tuoba Yuan faced off against Senior Feng. These 2 great perfection sovereign emperors quickly started fighting. They unleashed their Dao domains and Emperor's might. After exchanging 3 moves, the battle turned incredibly intense. Every single move was earth-shattering. This was especially so when the 2 used soul tools. Tuoba Yuan held a spiked club made of dark light, and Senior Feng held a black whip that could control the wind. The 2 were about equal in strength. Furthermore, they both had soul tools. Mysterious phenomena appeared, shaking the world. The might of the commotion was flabbergasting. As for the strongest, Hao Kai, he was surrounded by Xiahozun, by Yunfei, and the White Python with the strength of a great perfection sovereign emperor. Hao Kai was a 6-vein sovereign emperor with the Golden Crow holy beast's bloodline. Although he held a slight advantage, he could not free himself to help the others. Strong winds howled in Black Wind Ridge, and dragon roars rang out. The clouds in the sky scattered. The vast starry heavens looked incredibly clear, as if one could touch it with one's hand. How Kai and Senior Feng fared better in the three-way battle. The Heavenly Book Scholar found it the hardest. He faced the Dragon God Crown Prince's pressure alone. After a while, he was already riddled with wounds. He clearly knew that he could not defeat the Dragon God Crown Prince, but he could not fight. The Heavenly Book Scholar needed to buy time for Wang Yan to use his dragon essence to summon Shao Qin and the others. Given the Heavenly Book Scholar's intelligence, he could naturally tell that the four before him were just the vanguard. The 13th Prince's true strength was still on the way. At that time, the Heavenly Book Scholar would be like a turtle in a jar. I need to hold on. Bang! Emperor Dragon Fist, unparalleled under the heavens. Qin Ming showed an indifferent expression, not showing any emotion in his eyes. Then, he threw another Emperor Dragon Fist. The dragons bowed their heads as Qin Ming turned into a golden divine dragon. Then, he leaped up from the heads of the dragons. The instant the fist light exploded, the light became even more dazzling than the sun. The Emperor Dragon's dragon might erupted to its limits, forcing the bowing dragons to kneel. This fist was unparalleled under the heavens, making all the dragons kneel. The folding fan in the Heavenly Book Scholar's hand materialized thousands of miraculous images. Plums, orchids, bamboo, and chrysanthemums appeared together. Righteous chi coexisted with the heavens. However, the instant the Heavenly Book Scholar touched the fist light, these miraculous images shattered like dreamy glass. A bloody bowl-sized hole immediately appeared in the Heavenly Book Scholar's chest. He wobbled in the air like a broken kite. Damn it! When Wang Yan, who was draining his dragon essence to summon Shao Qin and the others, saw this scene, he had no choice but to interrupt his summoning. If Wang Yan still did not make a move, Qin Ming might smash the Heavenly Book Scholar to death. Whoosh! Wang Yan's figure flashed, moving like a phantom. Then, he caught the Heavenly Book Scholar and slowly descended. Qin Ming revealed a look of pity in his eyes. He said softly, "You gave up on summoning? Had I known, I would have been gentler. However, I had no choice. I only used 50% of my strength." "Your Highness, why did you give up?" The Heavenly Book Scholar could not help showing despair in his eyes. Given this, when the 13th Prince's main forces arrived, the Heavenly Book Scholar would not be able to escape. The 9th Prince Wang Yan's succession race would basically be over. So what if I gave up? I can't stand by and watch you die. Not bringing Shao Qin and the others here was equivalent to giving up on the succession race. Changji, rest well first. Wang Yan passed a strand of dragon essence to the Heavenly Book Scholar to nourish his heart and lungs. Then, he restrained the Heavenly Book Scholar and stood up to face Qin Ming alone. Wang Yan's eyes turned cold as he gathered murderous intent in secret. The instant Qin Ming met Wang Yan's gaze, he felt slightly stunned. This prince before him seemed to be much stronger than he had imagined. The huge light screen in the palace showed the 13th Prince leading his guests. They charged at Black Wind Ridge with surging murderous intent. This immediately startled the various feudal lords and the noble clan heads. The 13th Prince is going to Black Wind Ridge. He is trying to kill the 9th Prince. It does not look like he is just robbing the 9th Prince. I heard that the 13th Prince and the 9th Prince have a grudge. This is just the first round and he is trying to kill everyone. Isn't that too much? Ha! The 9th Prince is going to be unlucky. How unfortunate! How unfortunate! Originally, the feudal lords and powerhouses thought that it was just a simple robbery. However, when they saw the 13th Prince leading his guests to Black Wind Ridge, they all knew that the nature of this matter had changed. Outside the drill ground, Mo Qin, Ao Jiao, Su Yi, and the other Misty Rain Pavilion's people all showed some worry when they saw this scene. Inside the Thunder Flame Inheritance, a heavy jade strip with 9 dragon images swam about. Xiao Chun absorbed nearly all the vast dragon essence in the inheritance. Just at this moment, Xiao Chun frowned slightly. He had sensed Wang Yan's call from the jade strip. However, just as Wang Yan was about to ask, the call was interrupted in a hurry. Oh no! Something happened to the ninth prince. Xiao Chen's expression immediately changed. Then, he grabbed the jade strip and turned into a beam of light as he flew out. Just as Xiao Chen felt helpless, fearing that he would not be able to rush over in time, crunching sounds came from his storage ring. The demon blood vulture was breaking out of its cocoon. On the other side, Xiao Suo and the others also sensed that something happened. I have a secret technique that can allow us to rush over quickly. Get close to me. I hope we can make it in time. Xiao Suo took out the scarlet blood war banner with a grave expression. Wu Meng and Qin Zhuolin quickly approached. Chapter 2295. The 13th Prince's group, which was rushing to Black Wind Ridge at full speed, made everyone feel the severity of the situation. At the same time, this made the 9th Prince's supporters in the palace worry. The 13th Prince's disciples were the outstanding talents of the 8 great empires' sovereign emperors. They all had great desolate Ian bloodlines, and they were practically undefeated in the first round. Among the princes, his strength could be ranked in the top 3. That was because there were some princes who weren't as weak as they seemed on the surface, but their strength was definitely enough to rank in the top 5. As for the 9th Prince Wang Yan, he spent most of his time outside. His faction in the capital was practically non-existent. He had relied on Xiao Chen's connections and the Misty Rain Pavilion's resources to recruit guests. There was a great disparity in strength between the two events. In Black Wind Ridge, the battle was in full swing. Hao Kai of the Golden Crow Empire was fighting 1 against 2. He was fighting Xiahou by Yunfei and the troublesome White Lightning Python. Even though he had an overwhelming advantage in terms of cultivation, neither Xiahou nor Bai Yunfei dared to fight him head-on. However, the two of them were outstanding talents. They were intelligent and had astonishing comprehension abilities. By relying on his powerful foundation, he actually managed to stall Hao Kai. On top of that, there was the elusive White Python, which could cause serious injuries if one was not careful. No matter how furious Hao Kai was, he could not break away from the two of them. He could not free himself to help the 9th Prince Wang Yan. As for Senior Feng and Tuoba Yun, the two of them were already fighting with all their might. Everyone took out inferior-grade soul tools and unleashed their full power. Dao domains clashed with Dao domains, soul tools clashed with soul tools. They were equally matched, and it would be difficult to determine the victor if there were no external forces. However, as time passed and the 13th Prince's army arrived, their advantage would become apparent. Time was not on Senior Feng's side. If they continued to fight, there was no guarantee that his mental state wouldn't change. Inside the imperial palace, all the feudal vassals, the big shots of the 4 regions, and the noble families were paying close attention to this battle. It was Qin Ming and the 9th Prince Wang Yan. There was no need to doubt Qin Ming's strength. He had been famous for a long time. Among the outstanding talents of the 8 great empires, the Golden Dragon race was grooming him as the next crown prince. He himself did not waste these resources. Since Xiao Chen's debut, he had used his various accomplishments to carve out the title of Dragon God Crown Prince. This showed that his reputation was not undeserved. However, although the 9th Prince Wang Yan spent most of his time outside, leading troops into battle, the 9th Prince Wang Yan was not an ordinary person. However, compared to talent, bloodline, and resources, they were all inferior. The only advantage they had was one thing. With the Yen Imperial Sword in hand, Xiao Chun could bring out strength that surpassed that of the other outstanding talents. The dragon fate in the sword could be converted into his own combat strength at any time. The two of them stared at each other, competing with their auras as they searched for each other's flaws. Qin Ming showed an indifferent expression, showing no joy or sorrow in his eyes. his Emperor Dragon might soared into the clouds. Vaguely, it turned into an enormous golden dragon that coiled in the sky, looking down at the common people from above. His clothes and long hair fluttered in the wind. His handsome facial features were well defined, as if they had been carved out by a ghost axe, sharp and boundless. As Wang Yan held the Yen imperial sword, he showed a grave expression, feeling heavy pressure. Xiao Chen's cultivation was lower than the other parties in the first place, only a two-veined sovereign emperor. Furthermore, the other party had a divine dragon bloodline, so his aura was much weaker. If not for the Yen imperial sword, Wang Yan would have fallen long ago. However, Wang Yan's pitch-black eyes did not show any cowardice. His gaze remained resolute and calm. There was also a boundless killing intent that turned into a ferocious wild beast hiding in the depths of his eyes. This was the massacre Dao. Even if one could not defeat the other party, one would not cower. After identifying the enemy, one would not rest until one party died, fighting to the death. Qin Ming sensed this determination, so he did not act rashly. He only used his aura to slowly suppress the other party. Sha! Sha! As Wang Yan faced off, Qin Ming unhurriedly took a step forward. He took this step very slowly. It was as if the flow of time had slowed down along with this stomp. Even the surrounding scenery was affected and slowed down. Slow. However, Wang Yan, who grasped the sword hilt, could not draw it. Although the other party was slow, he did not show any openings. As he raised his foot, it even contained a great aura, making everyone feel grave. However, if Wang Yan did not draw his sword, he might not have a chance to draw his sword when the other party's foot landed. Wang Yan needed to draw his sword. The killing intent in Wang Yan's eyes slowly gathered like thousands of sparks. Just as the sparks were about to gather, just as the Yen imperial sword was about to be drawn, Qin Ming's foot suddenly sped up. Fast. When he slowed down, time seemed to freeze. When he sped up, it was as if time had stopped. When he sped up, the boundless starry heavens in the sky changed. The starry heavens turned into a painting. Shifting. Boom. Dragon roars rang out and the starry heavens changed. Before Wang Yan could draw his sword, Qin Ming's foot landed. Immediately, an Emperor Dragon's dragon might burst out from Qin Ming's foot. A gentleman is like a dragon, moving with the heavens, constantly striving for self-improvement. Qin Ming shouted, and a visible golden Emperor Dragon's dragon might swept out in all directions. Before the sparks formed by the thousands of sparks in Wang Yan's eyes could gather, he got knocked back and his aura shattered. The world is like the earth, and a gentleman is virtuous. Boom! The entire ground trembled and exploded. Thousands of dragon images burst out, and Qin Ming soared into the air. Qin Ming's Emperor Dragon might soared in that instant. His speed was even faster than Wang Yan's as he flew back. Then, he charged over to Wang Yan at a startling speed and punched with the Emperor Dragon fist. The expression of Wang Yan, who was knocked back, changed slightly. He had no choice but to give up on drawing his sword. Wang Yan held the sword hilt with one hand and the scabbard with the other, holding the sword horizontally in front of him. He infused his divine energy into the sword using the massacre Dao. The dragon essence on the sword soared, and a dragon image coiled around the scabbard. Dang! Wang Yan vomited a mouthful of blood. His arm went numb, and he nearly lost his grip on the Yen imperial sword. The force of this punch knocked Wang Yan into the air. Without waiting for Wang Yan to land, Qin Ming pressed forward with a cold expression, continuously launching attacks. Immediately, the golden divine dragon's dragon might spread out. Golden dragon images filled the sky, covering the sky and covering the sun. The Emperor Dragon Fist, known as the strongest fist technique in the world, pressured everyone to the point of suffocation. Even through the huge light screen in the royal palace, everyone could feel this overbearing fist light, which made them shudder in fear. The might of the Emperor Dragon Fist was clear without a doubt. The fist light was bright, howling like the wind. With every punch, dragon images roared ferociously. As Wang Yan punched repeatedly, the flickering dragon images could only be seen flashing with golden light because the fist light was too fast. He clenched his teeth and did his best to endure. Qin Ming made up his mind not to give Wang Yan a chance to draw his sword. This was because such a person who cultivated the Tao of massacre would not be able to escape. However, once Wang Yan drew his sword, no matter how injured he was, he could erupt with startling offensive power. In the clouds in the royal palace, the Yan emperor frowned slightly but could not do anything. Right now, Wang Yan could give up and leave. If he did not and got beaten to death, even the Yan emperor would not be able to say anything. It ends here. The indifferent Qin Ming saw the huge opening that Wang Yan revealed. Then, he shouted coldly, and countless dragon images spread out in this world. The countless dragon images in this world gathered on Qin Ming's fist light. When he punched, Wang Yan lost his grip on the Yan imperial sword. The sword flew out of his hand and into the sky. However, Qin Ming's explosive fist light did not lose momentum, continuing mercilessly towards Wang Yan's chest. "Your Highness!" Senior Feng, who was fighting with Tuoba Yun at the side, could not help crying out when he saw this scene. Wang Yan stared blankly at the Yan imperial sword that flew into the air in a daze. He turned a deaf ear to Qin Ming's punches, his eyes only focused on the sword. Damn it! The Heavenly Book scholar, who was severely injured and unable to move, felt very anxious. His eyes turned slightly moist as he shouted anxiously, "Your Highness, give up! Give up! Give up!" If Wang Yan still did not give up, he would not be far from death when this punch landed. As Wang Yan looked at the swaying Yan imperial sword in the air, many thoughts flashed through his mind. Wang Yan thought about his mother's miserable death when he was young. He thought about offending his 13th brother and being forced to leave the imperial capital. He thought about the cruelty of the battlefield. He thought about Xiao Chen's scolding. "What use do I have for you? Should I give up?" Absolutely not. The killing intent in Wang Yan's eyes turned into sparks again. The flames of the killing intent burned fiercely in his eyes. A terrifying killing intent erupted from Wang Yan's body. The instant Qin Ming's punch landed on his chest, Wang Yan used his finger as a sword and stabbed Qin Ming's chest as well. Pu Qi! A bloody bowl-sized hole appeared in the 9th prince's chest as he went flying back. Qin Ming did not move back at all. However, when he landed, he wiped his hand across his chest. Blood covered his hand and a gash appeared on his chest. Blood gushed out like a fountain. Wang Yan's final sword strike had also pierced through his dragon might. "You are seeking death." Qin Ming immediately felt enraged. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he charged over again. However, just at this moment, a flash of scarlet light flashed in the air like a burning flame. A figure leaped up and grabbed the Yan imperial sword in the air. Then, that figure descended like a meteor and shielded Wang Yan, catching the punch. Bang! The instant the two fists clashed, that person did not move at all. Dragon roars came from his body, not showing any fear of the Emperor Dragon might that covered the sky. Emperor Dragon Fist, driving dragons to the sky. Qin Ming's expression changed slightly as he punched. Hearing the command, Dragon's sword into the sky. Supreme Dragon Fist, leaderless dragons. The newcomer was not flustered at all. He also punched out. The dragons that Qin Ming commanded collided with each other. They turned into thousands of light shadows and scattered in all directions, like headless flies in the air. Emperor Dragon Fist, Dragon's Bow. Qin Ming was enraged. This was the first time this kind of situation had occurred. Immediately, his spirit essence surged and he punched out again. Xiao Chen forced the thousands of dragon images in the sky to gather under his fist light and charge down. Supreme Dragon Fist, raging at the unfair heaven. Qin Ming was angry, but the person who came was even angrier than him. He was angry at the sky that was ruled by an evil dragon. If the heavens are unfair, then I'll shatter the heavens and restore my clarity. Boom! When Shao Qin punched, the bowing dragon images shattered. The sky turned clear, and the vast starry heavens reappeared. Amidst the scattering starlight, Shao Qin said softly, "I'll also return a punch to you. I, the unique and righteous." What was a supreme? In the heavens and earth, only I am supreme. Chapter 2296. In the heavens and on the earth, I am the only one. Grabbing the Yen Imperial sword, Wang Yan, who was on the ground, felt stunned. He had not expected Shao Chen to arrive so quickly. But, boom! Shao Chen's expression was indifferent, but he did not have the slightest fear. Roar! The moment he said that, Wang Yan's expression changed slightly. He suddenly understood something. The moment the huge palm appeared, Qin Ming jumped in fright. He quickly stopped talking and jumped away in a panic. When Qin Ming, who was still falling, saw Shao Chen break out of his cage and charge over again, a ferocious light flashed in his eyes. He shouted, "Die!" Even the turbid air that Zhang Xian exhaled was forcefully forced back into his throat. Divine Dragon Secret Skill, Prison Chain Frenzied Dragon. The powerful attack was like a torrential storm, it was simply breathtaking. Bang! Bang! He did not show any signs of frustration because of his previous defeat. Instead, his eyes were filled with excitement. It turned into fragments and scattered all over the sky. Horizontally and vertically, they formed a cage, trapping Shao Chen in the air. The fist light flashed and the dragon shadow shone brightly. At Shao Chen's command, the demon blood vulture, that looked like a blood phoenix in the air, screeched and flew towards the electric white python. Kacha! Firmament's rage! Bang! Bang! Sword catch! Shao Chen stretched out his hand and beckoned. The ancestor dragon's rage from the ancient great desolate Aeon appeared in the sky. Vaguely, there seemed to be a universe within it, containing the power of space. Bang! The continuous attacks made everyone feel as if a stone was stuck in their hearts, and the pressure was immense. Otherwise, the aftershock of a random wisp of sword light would cause a destructive blow to the surrounding space. An ancient king's aura spread out from his body. The so-called pure emperor dragons might immediately seem immature before him. "I almost thought you wouldn't be able to make it. Do you think I want to kill the 9th prince?" Shao Chen showed a calm expression as he took out the Heavenly Alliance Envoy medallion unhurriedly. Compared to the Supreme Dragon Fist, these feudal powerhouses even felt that the Emperor Dragon Fist was not worth mentioning. Damn it, why is this strength so fierce? It could rival a strong 4-vein sovereign emperor. What did it mean by the number 1 offensive technique in the world? Unwilling to listen to the other party's nagging, Shao Chen stepped forward and stomped on the other party's head, crushing it into the ground. However, the Supreme Dragon Fist that Shao Chen executed now showed everyone what a sovereign emperor's violence was. Demon Blood Vulture, go help Senior Hao Kai. Earlier, Qin Ming had already shown them what the Emperor Dragon Fist was. However, not only had Shao Chen stopped in front of him, but his move, I, the unique and righteous, was also trying to send him flying. Qin Ming, who had landed on the ground, wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth and grinned. After 100 moves, Shao Chen's fist smashed through the protective shield formed by the dragon might and landed on his chin. Break! It was obvious how terrifying of a force Shao Chen had exerted in this instant. At this moment, Qin Ming finally experienced what it felt like to be suppressed by someone using an offensive technique similar to the Emperor Dragon Fist. Furthermore, it continued to shrink. It looked like it would completely restrict Shao Chen's physical body and invade his flesh, blood, and soul. Shao Chen showed a relaxed expression as he turned around and tossed the Yen Imperial sword in his hand to the 9th Prince Wang Yan. When Shao Chen punched, that unruly and unyielding aura burst out from his body. Shao Chen's fist light destroyed an inferior-grade soul tool just like that. Qin Ming said coldly. My target has been you, the dragon race rebel, Shao Chen, from the start to the end. The instant the sword light appeared, the entire world turned dark. A horrifying aura spread out in all directions. The entire ancient Yen Emperor tomb felt this terrifying sword intent. You, Qin Ming, seemed to have an irresolvable conflict with the golden dragon race. A purple light flashed, and Shao Chen appeared directly in front of Qin Ming. Then, he threw a punch. Shao Chen's fist light was like a torrential storm, raining down relentlessly on the old man's chest. However, Qin Ming lived up to his reputation. In the blink of an eye, he executed the strongest move of the Emperor Dragon Fist as well. Shao Chen turned into a beam of light and stomped on Qin Ming at an unimaginable speed. When Qin Ming clashed with Shao Chen's punch, he felt his arm go numb. The huge force transmitted over, shaking half of his body to the point where he couldn't move. Qin Ming's father was the current dragon race's purple-gold dragon emperor. He contained some of the dragon emperor's might. Regular dragon race cultivators would find it hard to stand stably before him. Crack! Qin Ming frantically formed hand seals with both hands. Suddenly, black dragon images appeared in the sky and on the ground. Qin Ming was incredibly strong before Wang Yan and the Heavenly Book scholar. He was nearly completely suppressed. Qin Ming could not parry at all. He could not even bring out the might of the Emperor Dragon Fist. I possess the Emperor Dragon's might. How can this person push me back? Qin Ming could not retaliate at all. Shock appeared in Qin Ming's heart. He could not imagine how Shao Chen's punch could be so horrifying. A dragon image came out of each of the two, roaring ferociously and glaring at Qin Ming. Qin Ming roared ferociously the instant Shao Chen's force scattered. In reality, the Emperor Dragon Fist was such a cultivation technique. The stronger it was, the stronger it was. However, once it suffered a true setback, it would be very difficult to gather its might again, unable to bring out its true might. This was the pure Emperor's might from the purple-gold dragon Emperor. Any dragon race powerhouse would fear this dragon might. Boom! The feudal lords and various powerhouses in the palace who saw this scene were all startled into speechlessness. It was completely useless. No matter how Qin Ming struggled, he was defeated by this punch. He was defeated. No wonder this person showed disappointment in his eyes when he saw that the summoning was interrupted. The instant the cage formed, time and space seemed to freeze. An ancient restriction flickered in the dragon pillars. Emperor Dragon Fist, Sovereign Descent. 5 huge handprints immediately appeared on the ground. Qin Ming, who had soared into the air, sucked in a breath of cold air. Blood splattered in the air, accompanied by broken teeth. Blood leaked out of a corner of Qin Ming's lips as Shao Chen forced him back a step. He revealed a doubtful expression in his eyes. The instant Qin Ming raised his head, he was about to capture Shao Chen's figure when he discovered many fist images. 100 punches, 1,000 punches, 10,000 punches, all of them surged out in an instant. Crack! Kassier! Kassier! Shao Chen shattered Qin Ming's protective battle armor. Suddenly, Wang Yan thought of the assassination attempt that Shao Chen faced at Mirror Lake. The other party's cultivation was clearly the same as Wang Yan's. What was supreme? The Emperor Dragon's dragon might seem solid as it spread out from Qin Ming's body. That was the pure dragon might of a king. I'll take your life while you're down. Qin Ming continuously executed the supreme dragon fist. Be it his Tao domain, soul energy, cultivation technique, or mental state, he was weaker than Shao Chen. Noisy. Qin Ming's expression changed slightly. Unexpectedly, the other party could easily deliver such a strike after receiving 2 punches. At the crucial moment, Shao Chen could easily kill a great perfection sovereign emperor. A sword light also flew out of Qin Ming's medallion, and the dark world immediately lit up. The royal blue dragon bloodline flowed in Qin Ming's body. His name was written in the royal genealogy that had been passed down for countless epochs. dragon images immediately filled the sky. One was golden and the other was azure-colored. Boom! The berserk fist lights blasted Qin Ming, knocking him back and forth in the air like a broken kite. The black dragon images radiating heavy resentment crisscrossed as they flickered with light. A bright light immediately erupted from Qin Ming's forehead, and a sword light appeared. The two fists clashed, producing a deafening sound that shook the world. Once Qin Ming executed this move, he could force an expert like Wang Yan to not even have a chance to draw his sword. The two sword lights that inspired fear in peak sovereign emperors clashed in the air, clashing with each other. Then, they silently vanished. A colossal hand formed in the air. Lightning flickered in the palm and saber light spread out. Boom! This is never-ending. Crack! Crack! The many powerhouses in the palace could clearly feel it through the huge light screen. Bang! I'll return a punch as well. Only I am supreme. As their strengths were equal, they cancelled each other out. Qin Ming truly lived up to being the dragon god crown prince. He had many trump cards. Xiao Chen felt somewhat tired of this. He activated his alloy battle armor and supported his 6th layer Thunder Dao domain. Qin Ming roared, and the sovereign emperor's might from the divine dragon empire burst out of his body. Qin Ming went flying. The Emperor Dragon Fist of the Golden Dragon bloodline lost to Xiao Chen again. Heavy murderous intent flashed in Qin Ming's eyes. This was a sword light that the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor left in his sea of consciousness. It equaled a strike from the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor. Xiao Chen. Before Qin Ming could reveal a smile, Xiao Chen took out the Divine Lightning Talisman and broke this restriction with a wave of his hand. It turned out that Qin Ming's target had been Xiao Chen from the very start. Chapter 2297. Ah! Let go. Let go. At the same time, he felt even more shock. Xiao Chen was still firmly suppressing the Silver Dragon King as he fought. The Silver Dragon King was incredibly frustrated, but he could not do anything to Xiao Chen. After all, the Dragon God Crown Prince was a Golden Dragon Race 3-vein sovereign emperor. It would be somewhat difficult to crush the Dragon God Crown Prince's head with one stomp. Xiao Chen, I'll take your life. Xiao Chen snorted coldly as he unleashed his 4th layer Ice Dao domain, stacking the 2 Dao domains. The more crucial thing was that this Xiao Chen had some fortuitous encounter, allowing him to erupt with such strength in such a short time. Boom! The Silver Dragon King wanted to take advantage of Xiao Chen's distraction to pull Qin Ming out. With the support of the Alloy Dragon Armor, the Silver Dragon King's 6th layer Thunder Dao domain already reached the 7th layer Dao Might. Don't be rash. Any reputable person in the Yanwu dynasty would see this scene. The Purple Gold Dragon Emperor could not afford to lose face like this. Sikong Shu, who was dressed like a fisherman, appeared in the air. Under his conical bamboo hat, he looked coldly at Xiao Chen, who was fighting the Silver Dragon King. However, others could not even see that silver figure's appearance. This showed how fast he was. Whoosh! Sikong Shu's Dao Might Sword, reaching the 8th layer. The aura that Qin Ming burst out with was even more horrifying than when he activated his great desolate Ian bloodline. Caught off guard, Xiao Chen bore the brunt of the attack and got knocked back by a golden dragon image. However, he didn't expect to see such a situation after he arrived. Whoosh! The expected 9th Prince Wang Yan did not appear. Instead, the Dragon God Crown Prince Qin Ming was trampled on, unable to move. Sikong Shu's figure flashed, and he landed beside the Silver Dragon King. Then, he patted the Silver Dragon King's shoulder and said, "Believe in Qin Ming. Since he endured the humiliation until now and did not give up, he definitely has a way to escape." Ka! Bang! Bang! Is that so? How do you know that I am not doing it on purpose? I am already a traitor. Why would I care about the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor's face? They were still neck and neck. There was no obvious sign of Xiao Chen's decline. While Xiao Chen looked calm and collected, in reality, He had already brought out his Thunder Dao domain without anyone realizing it. It should be the bridge of the nose. Xiao Chen did not hold back when he stepped on the Dragon God Crown Prince's face. But who knew that with this pull, Qin Ming, who was being stepped on by Xiao Chen, let out a blood-curdling scream like a pig being slaughtered. Qin Ming, who was trampled on the ground, slowly got up. Golden dragon scales appeared on his body, slowly covering his entire body. Whoosh! Hao Kai of the Golden Crow Empire was slightly startled. The Silver Dragon King also had such worries, not daring to bring out the peak strength of a six-veined sovereign emperor. A silver light flashed, and the Silver Dragon King revealed his true body and retreated. The moment they saw this scene, a flaw appeared in their mental states. Clearly, it was not suitable for them to continue fighting. Seeing that Xiao Chen was still trampling on Qin Ming, Hao Kai shouted angrily, "Xiao Chen, don't go overboard. He is Qin Ming, the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor's favorite son. Now is the succession race. Don't be too ruthless. I know you did not mean it. Let go of Qin Ming, and everything can be discussed." Since Xiao Chen had the opportunity to trample on this person, he would naturally do so ruthlessly. Xiao Chen's 30-kilometer-long body was different from his previous dermic world. Now, Buddhist might covered his body, bringing out nearly all the Buddhist might of the Mahasvara Buddha's Sarira. Retreat. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Back then, what did I do wrong? The Golden Dragon bloodline chased me across most of the Divine Dragon Empire. Just because I practiced the Supreme Dragon Fist, I defeated the Emperor Dragon Fist in front of everyone? Sorry, I cannot accept this. Silver light flickered endlessly around Xiao Chen's body. Every time Xiao Chen sent out a palm strike, a berserk dragon roar rang out, stirring up mysterious phenomena. No one knew what Qin Ming was thinking at this moment. Tuoba Yun, who was fighting Senior Feng, Xiao Ho Zun, and Bai Yunfei, who were fighting Hao Kai, were stunned when they saw this scene. However, Xiao Chen was in a slightly better state this time. When that gargantuan foot landed, Xiao Chen was trampled into a pile of mush. However, he was in a slightly better state this time. The instant that gargantuan foot landed, Xiao Chen was trampled into a pile of mush. Furthermore, with such a strong Xiao Chen, it was impossible not to re-evaluate the current situation. Xiao Chen's body immediately wobbled. In the next moment, he suddenly soared up. Xiao Chen did not show any fear. He turned his body to the side and sent out a palm strike. Instead, he instantly bound the Dragon God Crown Prince Qin Ming, who was under Xiao Chen's feet. Xiao Chen and the Silver Dragon King sensed that something was wrong and rushed over before the 13th prince. In a moment, the two exchanged more than 100 moves. The sound of something shattering came from the ground, sounding crisp and resonant. Qin Ming's broken nose should be a blessing in a misfortune. Xiao Chen did not express his emotions. However, that did not mean that Xiao Chen was a hypocrite, allowing this person to do whatever he wanted. At the thought of this, the Silver Dragon King could not help rejoicing, praising Xiao Chen in his heart. Fortunately, the Silver Dragon King did not succeed. Even so, Xiao Chen did not do anything. His spiritual sense already sensed a group of people with strong auras not far away. These people rushed over at lightning speed. Without needing to guess, it had to be the 13th Prince's group. Qin Ming, who had just stood up and executed the Golden Dragon transformation art, revealed a trace of redness on his face. Sikong Shu was right. Qin Ming had endured humiliation for a long time. Indeed, he had been preparing in secret. Good. 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 Let Qin Ming use the Golden Dragon transformation art to defeat Xiao Chen. After this rebirth, he might be able to break through the shackles on the spot. Only then did everyone startle to their senses. It turned out that Qin Ming had been used as a sandbag, trampled under the Silver Dragon King's feet. The various powerhouses inside and outside the palace who saw this scene were all shocked as well. Since when did a three-veined sovereign emperor have such strength? The contrast was too great. Everyone found it hard to accept. The instant Qin Ming stood up, killing qi surged from his entire body as he stared at Xiao Chen, who got knocked into the air. The Silver Dragon King gritted his teeth at Xiao Chen's shameless words. He could not help wanting to erupt again. This. Clearly, the Silver Dragon King knew about this. Outside the palace, Xiao Chen's expression did not change. His alloy dragon armor flickered with purple electric light, and dragon motifs dotted the armor. The alloy dragon armor sparkled, looking like a swimming dragon hiding in the lake, appearing indistinct. This thorn was buried in the Silver Dragon King's heart. The Silver Dragon Kings forcefully retreated and stood together. As they watched Xiao Chen trample on Qin Ming, they did not dare to act rashly. This person's dragon might soar again. Silver light covered the sky for 5,000 kilometers around, making it look like a silver lake in the sky, boundlessly vast and majestic. Whoosh! This was the Dragon God Crown Prince, an outstanding talent that even a regular four-veined sovereign emperor could easily defeat. Boom! A silver light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes like a ghost, disappearing in a flash. Before the Silver Dragon King could react, the sky suddenly turned dark. In the next moment, a gigantic foot stomped on him. Just at this moment, a transparent fishing line streaked through the air. While Xiao Chen fought the Silver Dragon King, this figure appeared silently. However, it did not attack Xiao Chen. Everyone already guessed the identity of this silver figure. It had to be the Silver Dragon King, one of the two super experts by the 13th Prince's side. A Buddhist swastika appeared on Xiao Chen's forehead, radiating Buddhist might as he formed hand seals. He watched the Kasyapa Buddha cautiously execute the lost supreme magic skill of the Buddhist sect's dermic world. Right after Xiao Chen spoke, a horrifying great desolate Aeon dragon might burst out from Qin Ming's body under Xiao Chen's feet. As Xiao Chen spoke, he increased his pressure on Qin Ming's foot, pressing down a few more times. Qin Ming could no longer endure the pain, squealing like a pig being slaughtered. This is not a bloodline awakening. This is the secret technique of the Golden Dragon bloodline, the dragon transformation art. Qin Ming fainted, his life or death unknown. The pride of the Golden Dragon bloodline absolutely cannot be profaned by you. Xiao Chen, I will definitely kill you today. The sovereign emperors fought until the sky turned dark, nearly tearing down Black Wind Ridge. At the very least, Qin Ming's head was still there. There was one more thing that Xiao Chen did not say. This fellow wanted to do something to Lu Ryue, even if he had to die. Even the Silver Dragon King could not do anything to him, unable to take him down quickly. Qin Ming's miserable shrieks forced Sikong Shu, who was secretly trying to save him, to take the initiative to let go of the fishing line. Right now, Sikong Shu did not dare to act rashly, as Xiao Chen was stepping on Qin Ming. If he got careless, he could cause Qin Ming's death. Sikong Shu originally thought that the battle would end after one clash. Unexpectedly, the battle lasted for so long in the blink of an eye. Boom! A temporary calm appeared as both sides faced each other. Ice Dao Domain. Buddhist sect major magic skill, dermic world. How did Qin Ming lose in such a sorry state? Furthermore, his face was trampled on, rendering him immobile. Chapter 2298. Xiao Chen let out a cold shout. His killing intent, which was 7 times stronger than before, suddenly condensed together. The 13th Prince and company saw a blood-colored figure flash in front of them from 10,000 meters away. The tip of the flag seemed to be streaking across his eyes. It was cold and threatening, and the killing intent penetrated deep into his bones. This was the might of the legendary Scarlet Blood Pirate King, the Scarlet Blood Pirate King. When he was alive, he moved unhindered everywhere, becoming unrivaled for half his life. Even though he had already passed away, his once blood-stained demeanor was still immersed in time and space, lingering for a long time. After returning to the 9th Prince Wang Yan's side, he stood with Senior Feng, Hao Kai and the others. What do you want? A flag fell from the sky. Xiao Chen did not say a word. He silently condensed the Buddhist sect's 7-kill seal, and his killing intent immediately exploded sevenfold. Millions of li away, many princes sensed something. They all frowned, not understanding what was going on. But even so, Qin Ming was heavily injured and didn't have the strength to fight anymore. The 13th Prince Wang Yi's expression changed dramatically as he cursed in his heart. The strength of the 9th Prince's guests all gathered had completely frightened him. Compared to what he had expected, the difference was like the difference between heaven and earth. Xiao Chen drew his Yen Imperial sword, and a sword light spread out. A dragon image of massacre swam around the sword. Xiao Chen used the massacre Dao to activate the Yen Imperial sword in his hand. Thousands of cold stars gathered in his eyes, making him look like a grim reaper. Damn it! How could this be? One could only say that the Dragon God Crown Prince had too many trump cards after all. However, Xiao Chen did not expect the dragon might that the dragon transformation art would bring out would be even more terrifying than activating his bloodline. Under the conical bamboo hat, Sikong Shu showed an unsightly expression. After he let go, he said, "The situation is not good." He managed to survive. However, he abused his secret technique and suffered a backlash. Hey, let's watch the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor. Perhaps the accumulations of the Golden Dragon bloodline can allow him to return to his peak. Wang Yan rejected coldly. Sorry, many of these dragon essence came from my guests risking their lives to obtain them. I can't just give it to you for free. Even if Qin Ming was heavily injured and lost the ability to fight. The moment this saber appeared, Sikong Shu and the other sovereign emperors forced back the killing moves that they were preparing to unleash. Unfortunately, in the end, he couldn't take advantage of this great danger. With the support of the 7-kill seal, he drew his mid-grade soul weapon, Heavenly Slayer, the moment Wang Yi finished speaking. Damn it! The murderous aura had already materialized. In the thick black clouds, one could even vaguely see the phantoms of various ancient divine beasts. Buddhist might spread out. After stomping Qin Ming into a pile of minced meat, Xiao Chen's dermic world also dispersed. Damn it! 13th Prince, kill these people. The Silver Dragon King asked anxiously to Sikong Shu, who was checking on Qin Ming's injuries. Normally, Xiao Chen could use the Tyrant Saber to deal with most of his enemies. Spiderweb-like cracks appeared, preventing the other party's aura from coalescing into a whole. Right at this moment, a strange scene suddenly appeared. It was accompanied by a wave of majestic, resonant, and solemn voice that seemed to have traveled through time and space. Whoosh! Wang Yan did not back down. He could not agree to the 13th Prince's request. Without a doubt, Wang Yan revealed joy on his face. With the dragon vein protecting him, it was equivalent to this land acknowledging him. He instantly held the geographical advantage. Wang Yi said after some thought, "It's very simple. Hand over half of your dragon essence to me and cut off all possibility of becoming the crown prince. Naturally, I will let you off." Earth drawing as dragon. When Xiao Chen drew this saber with the 7-kill seal, scarlet lightning dyed half the sky red in an instant. Qin Ming, who was now a pile of minced meat on the ground, gave off a faint golden light as he slowly healed. Unless Xiao Chen destroyed Qin Ming's divine seal and soul, he would not be able to kill Qin Ming in one strike. There was a silver dragon, a white marsh beast, a swanee, and a heavenly wolf, all terrifying divine beasts from the great desolate Aeon. All the sovereign emperors, including Sikong Shu, had to take a step back. With this thought, Xiao Chen's figure flashed, taking the initiative to give up on Qin Ming's mangled body. However, he needed to draw a Heavenly Slayer now. Wang Yan smiled coldly in his heart. So that is the case. However, this is really laughable. Never mind. When the banner stabbed into the ground, the entire world trembled. When the banner fluttered, it looked like a scarlet ribbon dancing in the air. This peak 6-veined sovereign emperor from the Golden Crow Empire was Ao Jiao, enduring immense pressure. A warm feeling spread in everyone's heart, including the 9th Prince's people. Xiao Chen, who was in the air, frowned slightly. He knew that he had lost the chance to land another strike. Qin Zhuolin casually waved his hand, and the surrounding terrain changed dramatically. A strand of the ancient dragon vein hidden in the terrain appeared, surrounding Wang Yan and the others. Originally, Wang Yan thought that the other party's strongest trump card was activating his great desolate Ian bloodline. 9th brother, don't blame 13th brother for being ruthless. Back then, Xiao Chen relied on this saber to kill the 4-veined sovereign Emperor Qin use physical body and soul at the same time. Once it erupted, Xiao Chen did not dare imagine how horrifying it would be. Even peak sovereign emperors, who surpassed great perfection sovereign emperors, would have to retreat. Otherwise, only death awaited them. The strength of those carefully selected to help Xiao Chen went without a doubt. Even Sikong Shu did not dare to underestimate them. Furthermore, these people had the most horrifying trump cards. They could all bring out their bloodlines. Aside from suffering from Xiao Chen's stomp, they also suffered from the rebound of the secret art. At this moment, their souls fell into a deep sleep. Attack. With so many outstanding talents present, who dared to fight? A terrifying mysterious phenomenon appeared in the entire ancient Yen Emperor tomb. They had no choice but to retreat. When the 10-odd sovereign emperors' killing intent was forced out of their heads, the pressure on them immediately decreased. Heavenly Slayer. A tense atmosphere spread in Black Wind Ridge. The many sovereign emperors clashing gave off a terrifying aura. On the 9th Prince's side, aside from Xiao Chen, who appeared somewhat unfathomable, only the Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai could be considered a sovereign emperor expert. Wang Yan showed a silent expression. Then, he stepped forward and looked straight at Wang Yi. 13th brother, this succession race has just begun. Aren't you in too much of a rush to kill me already? Wang Yan felt admiration for Wang Yan's decision from the bottom of his heart. Many times, one did not need to make the right decision, but one needed to be decisive. This was a peak medial grade soul tool forged from demonic tribulation lightning gold. The ancient thunder cliff tree was the handle, and the ancient thunder dragon's true soul was infused into it. The demonic tribulation lightning gold was a transcendent grade divine material born from Mo Juning's true god tribulation. It could only be found and not sought. Boom! The demonic tribulation lightning gold was ferocious and tyrannical, containing the heavenly Tao's killing intent. It was sharp and could trigger the demonic tribulation divine lightning, like a heavenly punishment. If the demonic tribulation lightning gold drove it at full power, it could cause the sky to crack, the sun and moon to dim, and stars to fall. Although it was a medial-grade soul tool, its might was infinitely close to that of a superior-grade soul tool. The instant the terrifying killing intent erupted from Wang Yan's body, the sevenfold saber intent tore the dense dark clouds in the sky into pieces. Since that was the case, Xiao Chen might as well give it his all. The 13th prince still had the Silver Dragon King and Sikong Shu, two super experts. Aside from them, there were Tuoba Yun, Bai Yun, Sikong Shu, and 10-odd sovereign emperor outstanding talents. They all possessed great desolate Ian bloodlines and were elites selected from great perfection sovereign emperors. To the prideful Qin Ming, such an outcome was worse than death. Given this, even if the 13th prince defeated the other party, it would be a miserable victory. My name is Scarlet Blood. My body is scarlet iron, and my blood is scorching. For half my life, I drifted from place to place. For half my life, I was unrivaled, moving about without fear. My body is like a sword. The other person only needed to take advantage of this opportunity to snatch away Qin Ming's body. Everyone inside and outside the palace felt startled when they saw this scene on the light screen. The Silver Dragon King was enraged. Murderous intent flared in his eyes. Now that Qin Ming was already like this, He no longer had anything to fear. Whoosh! A golden flame appeared in Hao Kai's eyes. Pure solar true flame burst out of his body and burned fiercely. Even though Hao Kai knew that he would lose, he did not cower in fear. Instead, he gathered his wills and focused. "It's Heavenly Slayer!" Wang Yi shouted coldly, and the guests behind him immediately burst out with startling murderous intent. The murderous intent of the 15 sovereign emperors burst out in shock. Dark clouds instantly covered the sky, which was so clear that one could see the starry river. Even Shao Chen could not retreat when facing the might of the Scarlet Blood Warbanner's inheritance head-on. Fight! The Silver Dragon King felt incredibly anxious. He snatched back Qin Ming's body in the time it took for a spark to fly, worry filling his face. "How dare you!" All Shao Chen needed was one more kick to end this. Between Sikong Shu and the Silver Dragon King, one of them would definitely hold him back. Xiao Suo, Wu Meng, and Qin Zhuolin also fell along with the banner. Boom! Sikong Shu, how is it? The 13th Prince Wang Yi did not care. He mocked, "Ninth brother, don't tell me that you don't understand the principle of the strong preying on the weak. Just be frank. I have an old grudge with you. Even if first brother or 8th brother became the crown prince of the ancient Yan Emperor tomb, I would not worry too much. Only you, it is hard to guarantee that you will not take revenge. Although your chances of becoming the crown prince are slim, I still have to guard against you." Rage flashed in Wang Yi's eyes. Clearly, he had not expected the 9th Prince's team to be so united. Once he brought out the Heavenly Dao's killing intent, he would injure himself if he did not kill. Whoosh! At this moment, Qin Zhuolin was extremely weak. The body of a sovereign emperor had already transcended the mundane. Whoosh! Xiao Suo pulled out the Scarlet Blood War Banner. Then, the Scarlet War Banner suddenly unfurled and thrust its tip forward. This startled the Silver Dragon King. According to Sikong Shu, even if Qin Ming recovered from his injuries, he might not be able to return to his peak state. Chapter 2299. The others might be slightly inferior. However, Shao Chen's Heavenly Slayer, Xiao Suo's Scarlet Blood War Banner, the Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai, and Qin Zhuolin drew out the dynasty's dragon vein. The 13th Prince's group had to take this seriously. Should they continue fighting or not? To the 9th Prince Wang Yan and the others, it would naturally be best if they could avoid fighting. On the whole, the difference in strength was very obvious. The number of guests on the other side was more than double that of their side. Moreover, they all possessed great desolate bloodlines. If their bloodlines were activated and they fought to the death, it was certain that their side would lose. However, the 13th Prince's side had to think about the consequences of forcefully fighting. They would definitely win this battle, but without a doubt it would be a Pyrrhic victory. After this battle, aside from Sikong Shu and the Silver Dragon King, none of the other guests could guarantee a safe retreat. As for the 13th Prince, Wang Yi, he would be reduced from a popular candidate for the Crown Prince position to a supporting role with no hope of competing. In a flash, Wang Yi thought of all kinds of possibilities, and his face became frighteningly gloomy. He had never thought that he would fall into such a dilemma. After the 9th Prince's guests displayed their strength, the people inside and outside the palace felt that this battle would not happen. However, the problem now was that Shao Chen trampled on Qin Ming, ruthlessly trampled on him. The 13th Prince would find it hard to accept retreating like this. It was a simple sentence, but there was no suitable way for him to leave with dignity. Just think about it. A group of people came over aggressively and then left with their tails between their legs. How funny was that? 13th brother, do you think there's a need to continue fighting? Wang Yan said when he saw the 13th Prince's expression. He knew what the 13th Prince was thinking. Wang Yi said coldly, I can withdraw, but you must pay for injuring my guest. Otherwise, even if I have to fight to the death today, I will not withdraw. I'm afraid you have no choice but to retreat. Wang Yen said calmly. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Yi looked around, and his expression changed slightly. In just a short period of time, many princes had secretly rushed over, watching the tigers fight from the sidelines. It made sense. The battle between Xiao Chun and Qin Ming had already alarmed all directions. The other princes thought that it was the birth of some incredible treasure. At this moment, so many sovereign emperors were gathered in this startling confrontation. It would be hard for anyone not to notice such a phenomenon. Sikong Shu closed his eyes for a while before opening them again. 13th Prince, we need to go. Otherwise, it will be very troublesome. I'll settle this score with you later. At this point, even if Wang Yi was unwilling, he had to leave dejectedly. Xiao Chen was not foolish enough to start a huge battle with Wang Yen while the other princes watched. So. The 13th Prince's group withdrew their auras and quickly left. It looked somewhat comical and inconceivable. However, in reality, the moment Xiao Chen drew Heavenly Slayer, this battle was destined to never happen. When Xiao Sua charged over with the Scarlet Blood War Banner, he destroyed Wang Yi's final hope. After this group of people left, a trace of blood leaked out from the corner of Xiao Chen's mouth. His face had lost a lot of color. What happened? Wang Yen hurriedly stepped forward and asked. It's because of that saber, right? Hao Kai asked after glancing at Xiao Chen sheathing Heavenly Slayer. Then, he raised his eyebrows slightly. Xiao Chen did not deny it, not saying anything more. The reason went without saying. When Heavenly Slayer was drawn, it would trigger the Heavenly Tao's killing intent. If one did not kill, one would end up harming oneself. However, this result was what Xiao Chen sought, so he had no complaints. If Xiao Chen truly decided to fight, he would definitely use the Tyrant Saber. He would only draw Heavenly Slayer after he was certain that he could kill the other party. Xiao Chen drew Heavenly Slayer to dissuade the other party. If a huge battle really broke out, Xiao Chen would not fear it. However, the fate of Wang Yen and the others would be hard to predict. The other party had Sikong Shu and the Silver Dragon King, as well as a group of outstanding talents with great desolate Ian bloodlines. In the end, they were much stronger than the 9th Prince. It's fine. This is a troublesome place. Let's quickly leave. Xiao Chen looked around. There were at least 8 princes hiding in the dark, with some experts among them. Wang Yen looked around and nodded. Come, let's go deeper into Black Wind Ridge. With a thought, Xiao Chen quickly understood Wang Yan's intention. With the reputation of the Black Wind Ridge, they could completely avoid the trouble at the back if they walked further in. By the time Wang Yan's group was far away, Xiao Chen had already arrived. What a pity! I didn't make a move. The 8th Prince Wang Feng shook his head and stepped forward with a regretful expression. The Divine Sword Pavilion's Dao Yen, the Profound Heaven's Holy Sun Wenren Mu Yunju, and Gu Yuhan were all disappointed as well. If a great battle could really happen, just thinking about it was incomparably wonderful. The 9th Prince would definitely be defeated, and the 13th Prince would no longer have the right to fight for the title of Crown Prince. The 13th Prince could only rely on the 9th Prince to obtain the greatest benefit. But 9th Brother's strength has really exceeded my expectations. Senior Dao Xian, this time I am unable to help you kill Xiao Chen, I am sorry. Wang Feng retracted his gaze and said apologetically. The murderous intent in Dao Yan's eyes vanished. He smiled and said, Your Highness, what are you saying? In my heart, nothing is more important than Your Highness becoming the Crown Prince. Personal grudges are nothing. Wang Feng felt satisfied with Dao Yan's respect. He nodded slightly and looked at the Profound Heaven's Holy Son, who carried a zither on his back. Brother Wenren, what do you think? Ha. You are the main characters in this succession race. We will follow the 8th Prince's instructions. Wenren Yu came only for the ethereal Immortal Palace and did not care about anything else. Wang Feng knew what Wenren Yu was thinking, but he did not expose him. It was fine as long as he could help Wenren Yu for now. Just as Wang Feng was about to leave, he glanced around and saw a group of people walking over. The one leading the group was the low-profile 6th Prince Wang Ming. This person was even more low-profile than the 9th Prince Wang Yan, which Wang Feng found somewhat unfathomable. "Greetings, 6th brother." Wang Feng performed a cupped fist salute, showing a respectful elder brother as he greeted softly. "Holy Son, that is Yan Tsangming. He is from the underworld God Hall. We fought with him in the final blood battlefield. His death Dao domain is very terrifying." Mu Yunju's expression changed slightly when he saw Jin Yuan and Yan Tsangming behind Wang Ming. There is no need to care about him. As Mu Yunju and Mu Yunju communicated, Wenren Yu's gaze happened to meet Yan Tsangming's. The two smiled faintly as if that life-and-death battle had never happened. Wang Ming nodded faintly and said softly, "8th brother, have you ever thought that 9th brother's target is Black Wind Ridge, the Forbidden Land?" Wang Feng felt slightly stunned. "What do you mean? Could it be that 9th brother did not choose to go further away to avoid us? Haha. Who knows? Since it is a forbidden land, there must be something incredible. Perhaps it will be of help to him in the second round. Otherwise, 13th brother would not charge over. He must have discovered something." Wang Ming smiled faintly. Although he said that, he did not lead the group into Black Wind Ridge. After saying goodbye to Wang Feng and the others, Wang Ming led the group of Abyssal Underworld sovereign emperors away. "This fellow is really scheming. He already left, and he still wants to lure me into Black Wind Ridge to clash with 9th brother," Wang Feng said with some disgust. After that person left, Wang Feng's expression changed, and he spoke with some disgust. Wang Feng looked at the depths of the Black Wind Ridge and frowned. He thought to himself, could there really be something going on? "Your Highness, the 6th Prince's people are somewhat strange." As Dao Yen watched the other group leave, he said with a somewhat grave expression, "If I guessed right, they should be the people of the Abyssal Underworld. The 6th Prince is taking an unorthodox path. If he does not succeed, he will die trying." If the 6th Prince did not become the Crown Prince, the Imperial Ancestral Temple would definitely pursue the matter. Wang Feng recovered his wits and said somewhat angrily, "All of them normally hide so deeply, only to reveal themselves in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb. They are all not good people." When Wenren Yu's group heard this, they smiled to themselves. "You're a hypocrite, a two-faced person. I'm afraid you're not a good person either." One could only say that the truly ambitious princes were not people to offend. The princes who had been hiding in the dark kept showing themselves one after another. If the 13th prince were still here, he would definitely rejoice that he did not make a move. Otherwise, there would be nothing left. However, no prince chose to enter Black Wind Ridge in the end. The confrontation between the 9th prince and the 13th prince came to an end. This farce made the 13th prince feel dejected, and he suffered a huge loss. This also showed the 9th prince's strength and accumulations, piquing their interest in him. After the farce ended, the first round of the succession race slowly came to an end. Half of the 40-odd princes would be eliminated, forced out of the ancient Yen Emperor tomb along with their guests. Chapter 2300. In the depths of Black Wind Ridge. Sinister winds blew in all directions and demonic clouds surged. Everyone felt that something was wrong and couldn't proceed any further. "This place is giving me an ominous feeling. I can't go any further," Geomaster Qin Ming said as he looked into the depths of Black Wind Ridge, where the sinister wind grew increasingly denser and the strange atmosphere. Whoosh! The Golden Crow Empire's Hao Kai rushed over from behind. He looked at Wang Yan and said, "Your Highness, as you expected, no one followed us." Wang Yan heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. Now that he was completely sure that they were safe, he said softly, "Everyone, let's rest for a while. Those who are injured should rest more." Speaking of injuries, Wang Yan and the Heavenly Book scholar were the most severely injured. The only one left was Xiao Chen. The others were fine. The three of them took out medicinal pills and swallowed them, then sat down cross-legged and closed their eyes to heal. The others stood guard around them while observing their surroundings. Black Wind Ridge? Elder Feng, why is this place called a forbidden area? Qin Juolin seemed to be very interested in this place's origin, so he asked Senior Feng, who understood this place the most. Senior Feng said after some thought, I heard that this place is also an inheritance. In the history of the Yanwu dynasty, a tyrant was buried here. However, almost none of the people who entered the core returned alive. As more people died, it gradually became a forbidden area. Very few people went to explore it, and it has always been a mystery. When Xiao Suo saw that Qin Juolin seemed to be interested in this place, he frowned and said, There seems to be great danger hidden in the deepest part of this place. It is similar to some of the taboos I ran into in the sea. It's mysterious, evil, and frightening. It's best not to casually touch it. Qin Juolin smiled faintly and said, Don't worry. I am just somewhat curious about where the depths of Black Wind Ridge lead to. I will not really put myself in danger. As the group chatted idly, Wu Meng remained silent, guarding Xiao Qin and keeping a wary eye on the surroundings. After a while, joy appeared on Wu Meng's face. Xiao Qin, you're awake. The others immediately stopped chatting and looked over. Feeling everyone's concern, Xiao Qin smiled and said, I'm awake. I did not suffer any heavy injuries. I only suffered from the backlash of the soul weapon. He just needed to meditate for a while. However, he would not be able to use Heavenly Slayer for the time being. By the way, how much dragon essence have you collected? I have collected quite a lot. Qin Juolin laughed and took out his jade strip. The resplendent jade strip seemed to contain clear spring water, heavy and translucent. There were 4 dragon silhouettes swimming around the jade slip, flying up and down. The moment this jade slip appeared, a series of exclamations immediately rang out. Both Senior Feng and Hao Kai's eyes lit up. Your harvest is truly astonishing. Hao Kai and I only managed to gather 2 dragon images each. However, you managed to gather 4 dragon images by yourself. Elder Feng could not help but exclaim. Now that there were 2 dragon shadows, the difficulty of condensing 3 dragon shadows had doubled. Someone like Qin Juolin, gathering 4 dragon images in 1 jade strip, was truly incredible. A jade slip with 4 dragon images was comparable to 10 jade slips with 1 dragon image. This was the difference. Qin Juolin smiled and said, Fortunately, this is the result of the 3 of us working together. Just at this moment, Wang Yan and the Heavenly Book scholar opened their eyes. Senior Feng said quickly, His Highness is awake. Everyone, let's transfer the dragon essence to the 9th prince. 4 dragon images? When Wang Yan saw Qin Juolin's jade strip, he felt slightly stunned. Then, he smiled and said, You really gave me a pleasant surprise. Originally, I already had enough dragon essence. Now, my dragon essence will rank within the top 10 among the princes. After the others transferred their dragon essence to Wang Yan, the dragon essence around the Yen Imperial sword in his hand grew to 63 meters. Hold on to this. Don't use it for now. Xiao Qin stepped forward and handed his jade strip to the other party. However, Wang Yan's jade strip was indeed wrapped in a silk pouch. He could not see how many dragon images it contained. This is? Wang Yan put away the jade strip, feeling somewhat confused. Then, he looked at Xiao Qin in confusion. It's fine. Given the dragon essence in your Yen Imperial sword, you will definitely clear the first round. You should keep this dragon essence of mine. It might be useful later. If I guessed right, you should not have any more chances to collect dragon essence in the next 2 rounds. Xiao Qin did not say anything more. He only told Wang Yan not to use his dragon essence for now. Alright. Many thanks. The others were also curious about how much dragon essence Xiao Qin collected. However, since Xiao Qin did not say, no one asked. 9th Prince, what is the content of the second round? Qin Zhuolin asked. There was not much time left in the 30 days. The first round would end soon. The others were curious about Qin Zhuolin's words. Wang Yan replied after some thought, after the first round ends, 8 altars will appear in the core of the ancient Yan Emperor tomb. The altars lead to the Yan Imperial Sword, and their purpose is to allow the princes to refine their Yan Imperial Swords, allowing the prince's Dao to truly merge with the dynasty's dragon veins. Each altar can be used only once. After the second round, only 8 people will be able to compete for the crown prince position. After some thought, Xiao Chen said, "The refinement process will not be easy, right?" Wang Yan nodded. During the refinement process, aside from the princes undergoing a test from heaven, the altars will also suffer attacks from ferocious beasts. Normally, there will be at least 9 waves of ferocious beasts. Aside from that, the other princes and guests will interfere. Once they fail, they will be chased off the altar. In the second round, there would be no need to preserve strength. There would be no room for compromise. If 2 princes had their eyes on the same altar, it would be a battle to the death. Xiao Chen asked, "Can you tell me in detail what ferocious beasts we will meet?" Wang Yan pondered for a while before replying, "I can't say for sure. The specifics have to do with the various princes' great Dao. I cultivate the massacre Dao. The ferocious beasts we meet might be harder to deal with than the other princes. That is to say, we will meet ferocious beasts with even more murderous intent. If the other princes cultivate the ice great Dao, they will run into ice-attributed ferocious beasts?" Xiao Chen confirmed with Wang Yan based on his understanding. "You could say that," Hao Kai said after some thought. "Since it is a ferocious beast wave, then we will have to prepare some large-scale killing moves. We have to prepare them in advance. Those who are good at large-scale killing moves will focus on dealing with the ferocious beast wave. The remaining people will have to protect His Highness from the other prince's guests." The group discussed how to deal with the ferocious beast wave in the second round, expressing their opinions. However, they were somewhat insufficient. The 9th prince only had 7 guests left. His disadvantage in numbers would become apparent in the second round. Just at this moment, Xiao Chen frowned slightly as he looked into the depths of Black Wind Ridge. There, sinister winds and death chi filled the pitch-black darkness, giving off all sorts of mysteries. However, Xiao Chen did not know whether it was a misperception or reality, but he vaguely heard a voice calling out to him. Just as Xiao Chen felt uncertain, that voice appeared in his heart again. When he tried to grasp it seriously, it disappeared in a flash, and he could no longer find it. Strange, feeling suspicious, Xiao Chen looked at the others and asked, "Did you all hear that voice?" "No." "Xiao Chen, don't scare us. This place is strange enough in the first place. You can't be thinking of going in, right?" Everyone was startled. Aside from the sinister winds and evil chi, they did not hear any other voice. "I'll go and take a look. Wait for me here. Don't follow me. If you can't wait for me, then leave on your own." Whoosh! After speaking, Xiao Chen's figure flashed before anyone could say anything, entering the sinister winds and vanishing from sight. This, Wang Yan and the others felt somewhat confused by Xiao Chen's decision. "Let's wait for him. Don't act rashly for now." Wang Yan appeared somewhat helpless, but he did not overthink it. However, he was somewhat worried about Xiao Chen's safety. After all, Black Wind Ridge was infamous. They already felt fear when they ventured deeper, not daring to advance any further. Strange. It doesn't seem as threatening as the rumors say. As Xiao Chen dodged the nearly solid sinister winds, he did not run into much danger as he traveled. The sinister winds were strangely cold. If one got careless and got caught, one's soul would be damaged. However, if that was all, Black Wind Ridge would not live up to its reputation as a forbidden land. At the very least, while the sinister winds were not easy to deal with, they did not pose much trouble for Xiao Chen. Most importantly, a voice kept appearing intermittently, guiding Xiao Chen in the right direction. As a result, He did not get lost in this forbidden land where the sinister winds blew and spiritual sense was limited. Just at this moment, an incredibly vast pit suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Chun. The pit was empty, devoid of anything. However, just the pit alone sent a chill down one's spine. There should be something ominous in the pit. Xiao Chun frowned slightly and prepared to enter the pit. Just as he was about to enter the pit, the soil in the center of the pit suddenly split open, and a strange face appeared, opening its eyes. Chu Chaoyun. Chapter 2301. A human face emerged from the strange pit. It was the Chu Chaoyun that Xiao Chun recognized. Just as Xiao Chun felt uncertain, Chu Chaoyun broke out of the pit and flew towards him. Whoosh! Xiao Chun gently pushed off with his feet and took a step back. Then, he looked at the dirt-covered Chu Chaoyun and sized him up. Feeling it strange, he asked, "Who chased you so badly that you even used the move of hiding in a pile of corpses?" Without a doubt, the person before Xiao Chun was Chu Chaoyun. If it were not Chu Chaoyun, there was no way to explain who guided Xiao Chun to this place. Then, Xiao Chun looked at Chu Chaoyun's state. Clearly, he had sustained significant injuries and had not recovered yet. Xiao Chun concluded that Chu Chaoyun had fought with someone and suffered significant injuries. Then, he hid here. Perhaps by chance, Chu Chaoyun obtained the inheritance of this place and discovered Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun felt that his guess was close to the mark. Chu Chaoyun did not deny anything. After some thought, he said, "I called you here to tell you about this. Be careful of one person." "Who?" "The Xuewu dynasty's first prince, Shi." Xiao Chun raised his eyebrows and asked softly, "You mean the black-clad half-masked man beside the first prince?" "Yes. I have been investigating him for a long time on orders from the Universe Origin sect. Previously, I found some clues in the abyssal underworld. The situation is not good." "What do you mean?" Chu Chaoyun closed his eyes. After thinking for a while, he opened them and said, "You should know about the great war between the righteous and demonic factions 100,000 years ago. The Black Dragon King united the 9 layers of the abyssal underworld, breaking the world tree and destroying the deity world. From then on, there were no more true gods. I know about this. All the cultivators of the Great Thousand Realms should know about this as well." "Then, what are you trying to say?" Xiao Chun revealed a confused expression. He had heard this many times and knew about it many years ago. In that battle, many deities fell, the heaven-bridging peak shattered, and the world tree snapped. The martial epoch actually ended. However, because of one person, he defeated the Black Dragon King and sealed it, forcefully saving us from the calamity, allowing the martial epoch to continue. Xiao Chun did not deny it. He knew that Chu Chaoyun was referring to the blood-soaked Dragon Emperor, who had already defeated the Black Dragon King with the Wings of Time, a transcendent-grade soul tool. Without interrupting him, Xiao Chun signaled Chu Chaoyun to continue. "But that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is actually related to you." "Something to do with me?" Xiao Chun frowned slightly. What was Chu Chaoyun trying to say? The great war between the righteous path and the demonic path resulted in the fall of all the eternal true gods. From then on, no one in the world could live forever, surpass reincarnation, and become independent of the world. Anyone with ambition can guess that the martial epoch will end. They all want to start a new epoch and become the new epoch master. The epoch master. Xiao Chun felt slightly stunned. This was nothing new. The dragon spirit of the Blue Dragon Palace had said that to Xiao Chun as well. It wanted Xiao Chun to restore the glory of the Blue Dragon bloodline, establish the Divine Dragon Dynasty, and start a new epoch. Simply put, that dragon spirit wanted Xiao Chun to end the martial epoch and lead the Blue Dragon bloodline to rule the new epoch, making him the new epoch master. Perhaps you do not understand. Let me explain it this way. You can think of the martial epoch as a dynasty. After the great war between the righteous path and the demonic path, this dynasty was on the verge of collapse. The feudal lords all wanted to change dynasties. Chu Chaoyun said after some thought. After that, 50,000 years ago, your blue dragon bloodline's Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun finally could no longer hold back. Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the other party with some shock and said, "This is a shocking secret. Even if you are the Universe Origin Sect's Tao disciple, logically speaking, you might not know all this." Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly. After some thought, he said, "Don't worry about how I know for now. How much do you know about this Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun?" "I only know that after his ambition swelled, someone defeated him. Then, the blue dragon bloodline was destroyed, and the golden dragon race took over." Xiao Qin gave a half-truth and half-lie. He felt some anticipation for what Chu Chaoyun could tell him. Indeed, Xiao Qin knew very little about Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun. Even the dragon spirit had not told him in detail. At that time, aside from being the dragon race's Dragon Emperor, he had another identity, the demonic Tao Palace's Palace Master, Chu Chaoyun said unhurriedly, shocking Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin smiled embarrassedly and said, "Speak. I'm listening. Let's see what else you can say." "That is not important. What is important is that he nearly won back then. Unfortunately, he still lost to that person. Now that so many years have passed, no one has the courage and strength that Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun had back then, able to topple this tottering dynasty and start a new epoch." Chu Chaoyun continued, "However, it is different now. The faux god experts of the various superfactions feel an increasing sense of threat and urgency. Although they do not know the exact reason, they are not surprised, as the epoch changes and cycles endlessly. The peak experts of the old epoch will be wiped out along with the old epoch sooner or later, just like the martial gods in the past. It is very close. This time, whether they are willing or not, the various superfactions will have to make a choice. When the calamity descends, no one can avoid it. The person who defeated Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun can only watch it happen helplessly." Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes. After some thought, he said, "I roughly understand why you know these secrets." "Why?" Chu Chaoyun looked at Xiao Qin with interest. "Because the Universe Origin Sect is ambitious as well. They place their hopes on you, hoping that you will become the Epoch Master and start a new epoch, protecting the Universe Origin Sect's interests in the new epoch. As for why you investigated Shi, it must be because he is the hope of the demonic Tao Hall." Xiao Qin explained his guess unhurriedly. Now, he more or less understood that this succession race of the Yenwu dynasty gathered all the people qualified to become the Epoch Master. Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and said, "You can say that. Do you want to know who the person who defeated Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun is?" "There's no need. I can guess that he is the Epoch Master of the martial epoch. That is the Holy Lord, who currently controls the faux god world. In reality, the 5 righteous Tao superfactions are his pawns. However, the situation is already set. The martial epoch will be destroyed. These pawns will no longer be willing to be manipulated by him." Xiao Qin said calmly, "Given that, the 5 superfactions are actually responsible for the destruction of the Blue Dragon bloodline back then. Hence, the 5 superfactions work together to make the matter of Dragon Emperor Xiao Yun a taboo." Shock flashed in Chu Chaoyun's eyes. Unexpectedly, Xiao Qin managed to connect the dots so quickly. It looked like Chu Chaoyun had somewhat underestimated Xiao Qin. Perhaps Xiao Qin knew many secrets that Chu Chaoyun did not. "So, you came to look for me now to work with me to deal with Shi?" Chu Chaoyun nodded. "This person is too strong. The scarier thing is that he formed an alliance with the abyssal underworld. With the strong working together, I cannot think of anyone who can resist him. With the appearance of the ethereal Immortal Palace, the wings of time will probably be his. In this vast ancient Yen Emperor tomb, you are the only one who can trust me and earn my trust." If it were in the past, when Chu Chaoyun said this, Xiao Qin would have agreed without hesitation. However, things seemed different now. If Chu Chaoyun really wanted to start a new epic, the two of them would have to fight. Epics came and went in an endless cycle. The martial epic was coming to an end. Fate carried a boundless momentum. These people looked like the children of heaven, like the blazing sun. However, in reality, they had no choice in this surging tide. They could only make their own decisions. As Xiao Chen remained silent, the atmosphere between the two turned somewhat strange. Let's not talk about the distant, let's talk about the near. If the ethereal Immortal Palace appeared and she was defeated, would Chu Chaoyun give the wings of time to him? How did you get here? Suddenly, Xiao Chen looked up at Chu Chaoyun and asked an unrelated question. Me? I came alone, not with any prince. I roughly understand what you are thinking. Business is business. In that case, let's not talk about friendship, just benefit. If you agree, I will lend you a hand. This place is a copy of a certain tyrant of the Yanwu dynasty. Before he died, he killed more than 1 million cultivators and turned them into soldiers to be buried with him. After some thought, Chu Chaoyun said, "If you agree, I will give you the commander's tally and let you control these 1 million soldiers to help the 9th prince clear the second round." Right after Chu Chaoyun spoke, a black metal medallion floated out of Chu Chaoyun's palm. The black medallion had a great desolate ferocious beast carved on it, looking like it was alive. A scarlet light as thick as ink wrapped around the medallion, making it look even stranger. Xiao Chen shifted his gaze from the medallion to Chu Chaoyun's face. Then, he revealed a meaningful light in his eyes. Xiao Chen avoided the many experts of the Imperial Ancestral Temple and entered the ancient Yan Emperor tomb without a prince. How did Chu Chaoyun do it? How about it? Deal. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and grasped the tyrant's commander's tally. Then, he turned and left. Chapter 2302. Deal. Xiao Chen held the tyrant emperor commander's tally in his hand and turned to leave. Sinister winds blew endlessly in the depths of Black Wind Ridge, and a baleful aura pressed down. Resentment surged into the sky in the pit, condensing into lingering sin in the air. As Chu Chaoyun watched Xiao Chen's figure slowly disappear into the sinister winds, his expression turned somewhat complicated. Helplessness and disappointment appeared in Chu Chaoyun's eyes. Helplessness. The cycle of epochs came and went. Amid the overwhelming changes, there were startling fortuitous encounters that came only once every several million years. Who could remain unscathed? The weak could do nothing but drown in the torrent. Those with ambition would be like the blazing sun, doing their best to fight. Regardless of whether they were willing or not, they would be dragged forward by the overwhelming momentum. This was helplessness. Anyone would feel some helplessness. However, what was the disappointment? Chu Chaoyun could not figure it out, unable to put it into words. Suddenly, Xiao Chen turned around. Just one step away from entering the boundless sinister winds, Xiao Chen stopped. Without any warning, without any trace, Xiao Chen suddenly drew his tyrant saber. The saber light was like the blazing sun, resplendent and dazzling. Then, it burned fiercely, looking like the blazing sun illuminating the sky. Chu Chaoyun frowned slightly, as he sensed some rage in this saber light. Immediately, he found it strange. Where did Xiao Chen's rage come from? Boom! Just as Xiao Chen felt confused, the saber intent on Xiao Chen's body soared wildly. Soon, it reached the peak of his saber domain. Then, it quickly broke through the shackles and rose again. Then, he swung his saber at the boundless sinister winds before him. In that instant, a strong wind blew. The saber light instantly scattered the sinister winds for 50,000 kilometers around, making everyone's eyes light up. Suddenly, they felt that this place was boundlessly vast, with nothing in sight. He broke through? Chu Chaoyun could clearly sense that Xiao Chen's saber Dao domain had broken through from the second layer to the third layer. Compared to the elemental great Daos of wind, thunder, fire, and earth, the great Daos of saber and sword were much harder to improve. This was especially so for Xiao Chen. Since he was proficient in 3 Dao domains, the difficulty was even higher. However, at this moment, Shao Chen drew his saber in rage, instantly breaking through the shackles of his Dao domain by 1 layer. The chilly wind dissipated, and Shao Chen's blurry figure appeared clearly in front of Chu Chaoyun. He held the saber and stood there, using one saber to scatter the cold wind that had been circling here for 10,000 years. It was difficult for ordinary people to know how terrifying this saber strike was. However, Chu Chaoyun, who broke through the inheritance, was very clear on this. More importantly, the saber intent completely shattered the baleful Yin energy. Gotcha! Sheathing his saber, Shao Chen disappeared from Chu Chaoyun's sight with a few leaps. Suddenly, Chu Chaoyun's expression turned solemn, as if he had understood something. However, he still chose to use the saber in his hand to forcefully carve out a path for himself. Can one choose one's fate in their own hands? Chu Chaoyun asked somewhat self-deprecatingly. Then, he left, vanishing from Black Wind Ridge, where the baleful Yin energy no longer existed. Whoosh! 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 On the way back, Shao Chen ran into the 9th Prince's group, which he was familiar with. Wu Meng, the Heavenly Book Scholar, Hao Kai, and the others were there. When they saw Shao Chen, they heaved a sigh of relief. Shao Chen, what happened? We sensed that you ran into trouble earlier. The 9th Prince Wang Yan asked after sizing up Shao Chen. Shao Chen's expression did not change. It's dealt with for now. I already obtained the inheritance of this place. Everyone felt that something had changed with Shao Chen. However, since he did not say anything, they naturally did not pursue the matter. On the other hand, the Heavenly Book Scholar's eyes lit up. He said joyfully, I more or less understand the inheritance of this place. I want to change the way we play the second round of the succession race. In the 9th Prince's team, the Heavenly Book Scholar basically played the role of a strategist. Wang Yan relied on the Heavenly Book Scholar's suggestions and Senior Feng's experience for many of the plans and countermeasures. What do you mean? Wang Yan looked at the Heavenly Book Scholar, waiting for his analysis. After some thought, the Heavenly Book Scholar said, in the second round, we need to protect His Highness and not be disturbed during the refinement. We also need to split some people to deal with the ferocious beast waves. Furthermore, we need to preserve our strongest combat power to fight the guests of the other princes. We simply do not have enough manpower. That was right. Right now, the 9th Prince only had 7 guests. Compared to the other princes, the 9th Prince was at a great disadvantage in the second round. My original plan was to work with the other princes to attack the princes occupying the altars and muddy the waters. While preserving our strength, we could continuously disrupt the situation and reduce the number of guests of the other princes. Only by doing so would we have a chance of surviving the second round. This plan is too risky. It is easy for the other princes to work together to suppress us. If we are not careful, we might fail. However, there is no need for that now. We will take the initiative and occupy the altars. Then, we will wait for the other princes to attack. Shao Chen raised his eyebrows, and a commander's tally wrapped in a viscous scarlet light appeared in his palm. He looked at the Heavenly Book Scholar and said, It looks like you understand this commander's tally very well. The commander's tally of the dead that can summon 1 million Yin soldiers. Senior Feng was greatly startled. Clearly, he had not expected this rumored treasure to actually exist. Wang Yan sighed softly. I read about this ancestor in the royal court's secret records. His character was tyrannical and his means were cruel. He was a tyrant through and through. During his 100 years on the throne, he suffered the wrath of heaven. However, before he died, he killed 1 million imperial guards to accompany him in death. The Heavenly Book Scholar said softly, There is no need to care about that for now. Every time this tyrant's tally is used, it can summon 100,000 Yin soldiers. It can be used at least 10 times, easily dealing with the ferocious beast wave. Given that, we only need to focus on protecting His Highness. After discussing for a while, everyone felt that this plan was feasible. Although it was somewhat radical, it was worth a try. 2 days later, the first round of the succession race officially ended. Whether they were willing or not, the princes and their guests who did not collect enough dragon essence were forcefully sent out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several figures appeared out of nowhere in the palace's drill ground. Half of the princes were eliminated at the same time. The princes and guests showed different expressions. Some of the guests gained a lot and felt satisfied, showing joy on their faces. In the first place, these princes did not expect their princes to clear the first round. The harvest in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb was the key. The unlucky ones hung their heads dispirited, showing unhappy expressions. Clearly, they did not gain anything. There were also some princes who showed expressions of pity. They felt that if they had been slightly luckier, they would have definitely cleared the first round. He would definitely be able to get through the first round. He was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. The various powerhouses in the treasure hall in the clouds discussed the many eliminated princes. Many of the princes that they thought would be eliminated stayed, much to their surprise. This is really surprising. The 9th prince's dragon essence actually ranks within the top 10. Previously, I could not tell that he had such potential. There is nothing much to say. Since he could force the 13th prince to leave helplessly, we can guess the result. As for the 4th prince, everyone mocked him for only hunting ferocious beasts and not seeking inheritances. To think that he managed to clear this round. There is also the 6th prince Wang Ming. His guests are very incredible as well. The 1st prince is indeed the strongest. No one can shake his position. The first round of the succession race was a test of the waters. The true strength of the princes would be revealed, and in the second round, it would be completely unleashed. With only 8 spots, the competition would be even more intense. In the Misty Rain Pavilion's group, Mo Chen, Su Yi, and Ao Jiao showed anxious and excited expressions. He passed the first round, but it is hard to say for the second round, Su Yi said somewhat worriedly. The 9th prince's accumulations were very weak. Originally, he did not have any intention of competing. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, the 9th prince came to his senses and decided to fight for the crown prince position. Now, the 9th prince only had 7 guests left. He did not have an advantage over the other princes. Mo Chen and Ao Jiao did not place much importance on the succession race. The two cared more about Xiao Chen's survival. It was fine as long as he was safe. Uncle Hao Kai, I'll leave it to you. Ao Jiao stared at the flickering light screen on the drill ground, not hiding her selfish motives. She recruited Hao Kai into the 9th prince's team for only one purpose: to have him protect Xiao Chen at the crucial moment. Ancient Yen Emperor Tomb. The 9th prince's group, which cultivated in Black Wind Ridge, and a demon blood vulture roaming in the air, prepared to depart. Wang Yen looked into the distance. That was the core region of the ancient Yen Emperor Tomb, which contained even greater danger. Of course, greater fortuitous encounters accompanied danger. Chapter 2303. Go! The 9th Prince Wang Yen left Black Wind Ridge with Xiao Chun and the many guests, heading for the core region of the ancient Yen Emperor Tomb. At the same time, all the princes were getting ready to leave, and they were making their final preparations. After slaughtering ferocious beasts for 30 days, the 4th Prince Wang Yun appeared very excited. He actually managed to pass the first round. The strength of the 9th Prince's guests ranked below average among the many princes. On the surface, they were much weaker than the 9th Prince Wang Yen. Mr. Yuan, thank you very much, Wang Yun said as he looked at the hooded Yuan Jun. You're welcome. A hoarse voice came from Yuan Jun's mouth as he said calmly, this is very normal. As long as the other princes fight for the inheritance, they will definitely suffer losses. With great opportunities came great risk. We slaughtered the beasts from the very beginning. As long as he can persevere until the end, he will definitely pass the first round. Your Highness, you don't have to be too surprised. This guy, the fourth prince's guests, all felt that Yuan Zhen was overly calm. They were dissatisfied with the faint pride that came from Yuan Zhen's head as he spoke. However, Wang Yun did not care what these people thought. He asked, Mr. Yuan, are we still going to compete in the second round? I feel that our chances are not high. However, I am rather happy to be able to clear the first round. After we leave the ancient Yan Emperor tomb, I will properly thank everyone. If Xiao Chen could survive the first round and leave the ancient Yan Emperor tomb, he would definitely be conferred a higher noble title than the princes who left early. He had never dared to dream of such benefits in the past. Thank you, Prince. The guest cupped his fists and expressed his thanks. To be honest, although they didn't find any inheritance in the first round, they killed many beasts. All of them possessed dragon essence, and their entire bodies were treasures. After slaughtering for 30 days, the accumulated materials of these vicious beasts would also be a huge fortune. Furthermore, the rewards promised by the fourth prince made this trip worthwhile. Only Yuan Zhen smiled coldly and said, Why not? In this round, our chances are limitless. If we had to be careful in the first round, then we would have to be careful. In that case, there was no need to worry about the second round. Just wait, it wouldn't take long. There will be other princes looking for His Highness to discuss the matter of cooperation. Why? Wang Yun asked doubtfully, a confused expression on his face. Yuan Zhen explained, in the first round, many of the other princes' guests suffered losses. Some of the princes who were neither strong nor weak, but were full of ambition would definitely pull other princes to help them. Promise them a bunch of benefits first, and then kick them away after the deed is done. Fourth prince, not a single one of your hanger-ons is missing. Furthermore, you are famous for being weak. Everyone felt that they could control him, not fearing that he would cause any trouble. I don't believe that you're still not in high demand after all this. The moment Yuan Zhen said that, the fourth prince's expression turned slightly unsightly. He did not really believe Yuan Zhen's explanation. Suddenly, Wang Yun revealed a strange expression. He looked at Yuan Zhen in disbelief. Earlier, the third prince, the 18th prince, and the 17th prince all sent me a voice projection. They asked me to join their teams and promised me some benefits. They were very sincere. Ha 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 ha. Under the hood, Yuan Zhen guffawed a few times. Then, he said after some thought, follow whoever promises you the most benefits. Such people are usually the most unreliable. Just agree to him for now. When he thinks that he has you under control, give him a fatal blow and kick him away. These people all think that you are a pushover. However, in reality, you are not weak at all. Killing ferocious beasts in the ancient Yan Emperor tomb is actually the most stable way to raise your strength. Under such spatial pressure, the more you fight, the more you will adapt to the spatial pressure, and the stronger your combat prowess will be. The eyes of the fourth prince's other guests immediately lit up. They could not help viewing Yuan Zhen in a different light. Wang Yun appeared somewhat depressed, his expression changing unpredictably. After some thought, he said, All right, I'll listen to Mr. Yuan. Since they all want to use me as a stepping stone, there is no need for me to be polite with them. I'll do it. Under the hood, Yuan Zhen's lips curled up slightly, revealing a strange smile that no one else could see. 8 mysterious altars guarded the core region of the ancient Yan Emperor tomb. The altars were several hundred meters tall, looking like small hills. Ancient talisman scripts covered the altars. The Yan Emperor holy flame burned endlessly in the center of the altars, waiting for the chosen one to arrive. However, it would not be easy to charge up the altars. Colossal lava beasts guarded the altars' surroundings. To obtain the right to use the altars, one had to defeat the colossal lava beasts. The strongest person, the first prince, had arrived long ago and was currently fighting the colossal lava beast. The flames on the altar burned fiercely, and from time to time, giant lava beasts would jump out of it. It looked like there was no end to them. The first prince stood at the back, showing a calm expression as he watched his guests block these colossal lava beasts with the strength of a sovereign emperor. If one looked carefully, one would discover that the first prince's guests were not using their full power. They only casually dealt with these colossal lava beasts, showing no intention of killing them. "Your Highness, that should be enough," Zuoyu, the Imperial Guard commander beside Wang Fei, said as he looked at the nearly 500 colossal lava beasts. In reality, as long as one did not kill the colossal lava beasts that jumped down from the altars, one could use them when one ascended the altars. These colossal lava beasts could help one guard the altars and block the ferocious beast wave. If one ascended the altars early, one would not be able to use many colossal lava beasts. Of course, only the princes with stronger accumulations could afford to use this move. The other princes would not dare to release so many colossal lava beasts. Wang Yan's expression did not change. He looked at the black-clad masked man not far away and asked softly, "Lord Shi, what do you think?" She smiled faintly and replied, "I can add another 100. Any more and I will not be able to do it." Just at this moment, the 8th Prince Wang Feng led Dao Yan's group to the core region of the ancient Yan Emperor tomb. Wang Feng looked around and saw the first prince's group fighting the colossal lava beast. "First brother is really fast." Dao Yan withdrew his gaze, and a disdainful look flashed in his eyes. He said, "Your Highness, this might be an opportunity. I see that there are only 2 guards by the first prince's side. The other guests are fighting the colossal lava beasts and will not be able to free themselves for a while. If you are determined to die, you can use this opportunity to kill the first prince with a lightning-quick strike, eliminating your greatest threat." It had to be said that this was a crazy plan. Once he succeeded, the first prince would be killed by him in the second round. This was indeed a great opportunity. But there were too many uncertainties, and the risks were huge. Wang Feng's heart pounded heavily. After a long time, he finally suppressed this huge temptation. He said in a deep voice, "There is no need to take such a risk. Let's play it safe this round. There are still 7 altars left. Just pick one." When Dao Xian heard this, he was slightly disappointed, but he did not say anything. "I'm afraid it's time to stop. Your Highness, please ascend the altar now," she said softly with a slight frown. Confused, Wang Fei asked, "Why?" Zuoyu glanced at the 8th Prince's group and said after some thought, "Lord Shi is worried that the 8th Prince will charge over and surround the 3 of us. At that time, if the other guests are entangled, they might not be able to intervene. I can't guarantee Wang Fei's safety." She raised his eyebrows and smiled mysteriously as he looked at Zuoyu. A look of admiration flashed in his eyes. Wang Fei pondered this for a while. That was indeed the case. The black-clad man and Zuoyu would definitely be able to protect themselves against an encirclement. However, it was hard to say for himself. Onto the altar. Whoosh! Wang Fei soared into the air and flew past the many colossal lava beasts, heading for the altar. Colossal lava beasts continuously leaped up to block him. The Black Lotus Holy Son, the Azure Lotus Holy Daughter, the mysterious man shrouded in bloody shadows, and the other guests all blocked Wang Fei's path. Just as Wang Fei was about to ascend the altar, he drew his Yen Imperial sword. A dazzling sword light appeared, looking resplendent and dazzling. The sacred flame burned relentlessly, releasing a heat wave that illuminated Wang Fei's entire face, making him look flushed and somewhat crazed. "The Crown Prince position belongs to me," Wang Fei shouted ferociously and stabbed the Yen Imperial sword into the fierce flames. A beam of holy light immediately burst out of the altar, piercing the clouds and the starry sky, forming a resplendent pillar of light. A dragon image soared into the sky in the pillar of light, roaring in all directions. The previously ferocious colossal lava beasts below the altar all lay down obediently after the dragon roared. Shi, Zuoyu, and the others stepped on the kneeling bodies of the colossal lava beasts and ascended the altar step by step. In the distance, the various princes' expressions changed slightly when they saw the pillar of light. Their footsteps quickened significantly. Chapter 2304. Boom! After the first prince activated an altar, another beam of radiant holy light shot out from the ancient Yen Emperor tomb's core region. The radiant holy light on the altar was resplendent and dazzling, with dragon images circling it. No matter where one was in the ancient Yen Emperor tomb, they could see it clearly. The core region originally had 8 altars. Now only 6 remained. The princes, who were still on their way, grew even more anxious. They had to increase their speed. 6 hours later, the 9th prince's group finally arrived in the core region. At this moment, the ancient Yen Emperor tomb's core region was already extremely chaotic. 7 altars had already been activated. Countless ferocious beasts rushed over from all directions. Some princes and their guests mixed in, attacking the princes who already occupied altars. Shao Chun looked around and discovered that aside from the first prince, the 8th prince, and the 13th prince's altars, the other princes also occupied altars. Aside from the other princes, all the other princes had altars. However, this was within expectations. After all, these 3 princes were the strongest. No one would try to deal with them when they had a choice. Ruler's Great Tao? When Shao Chun noticed the first prince Wang Fei's Great Tao, he felt slightly stunned, somewhat surprised. The ruler's Tao was not a great Tao that ordinary people dared to cultivate. Without sufficient fate and luck, one could not carry the banner of the ruler's Tao. Instead, one would be burdened by it. However, once one reached great perfection, one could not underestimate it, either. This person was indeed an ambitious person. A murderous intent flashed in Wang Fei's eyes. Shao Chun ignored the first prince for now. Then, he quickly swept his gaze across the other altars, entering deep thought. Are we going to attack the altars of the other princes, or are we going to fight for the final altar? Qin Zhuolin asked the 9th prince and the others after withdrawing his gaze. 7 princes gathered at the last unactivated altar. The competition there was intense. If one attacked the other activated altars, they would have to face pressure from the ferocious beast. There were only 2 choices before them. There were both pros and cons. As for the final decision, they would have to listen to everyone's opinions. Wang Yan's gaze fell on the Heavenly Book scholar and Shao Chen, waiting for them to speak. Needless to say, Shao Chen's strength was enough to secure his position as a core guest of the 9th prince. The Heavenly Book scholar calculated the lives of the common people. He could read people's fates and accurately grasp the strength of the various princes' luck. Choosing the weak and avoiding the strong was what he was best at. A brilliant light bloomed in the Heavenly Book scholar's eyes as he erupted with an unfathomable aura. The remnant might of the heavenly Tao flowed out of his body, looking mysterious and unfathomable. Apart from the second prince, the other princes who currently occupy the thrones are thriving and showing no signs of decline. However, the 3rd prince, the 4th prince, the 17th prince, and the 18th prince have their eyes on the second prince's throne at the same time. If we attack it, we might face the combined attacks of the 5 princes. After some thought, the Heavenly Book scholar said, Shao Chen, I lean towards snatching the remaining altar from the other princes. What do you think? Shao Chen nodded. I have no objections. After listening to the other guests' suggestions, Wang Yan already had an idea. He said calmly, We'll do as Changji said. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as everyone was about to take action, a group of people appeared from the side. It was the 7th Prince Wang Yun and his guests rushing over. The 7th Prince Wang Yun was one of the strongest princes. His accumulations were much stronger than the 9th Prince Wang Yan's. Every one of his guests was a great perfection sovereign emperor. 9th brother, you came at the right time. Are you interested in working with me to attack 6th elder brother's altar? Wang Yun invited the 9th prince with a faint smile. In Wang Yun's opinion, the 9th prince Wang Yan did not possess the strength to become the crown prince. He would definitely be eliminated in this round. Wang Yun invited the ninth prince, giving him a chance to obtain this round's fortuitous encounter. There should be no reason for him to reject. Sorry, seventh elder brother. I have no intention of working with anyone for now. Wang Yen rejected decisively. Without saying anything more, he led the group to charge towards the two altars that had not been occupied yet. The group left in a hurry, leaving behind a stunned Wang Yun. After a while, Wang Yun startled awake. Damn it! This ninth brother is really not giving me any face. This is going to be problematic. Wang Yun's eyes wandered about as he muttered to himself, sixth elder brother is deeply hidden. Without anyone working together, it will be hard to take down his altar. The other altars that are occupied are not easy to deal with, either. A skinny old man beside Wang Yun smiled faintly and said, Seventh prince, since that is the case, let's not forcefully touch the princes that have already occupied their altars. We will rest here and wait for the ninth prince to fight the other princes before we reap the benefit. Wang Yun said softly, Humph. That's fine. If you want to put on a brave front, I want to see how strong you are. Let's go. Don't follow them first. Let's deliberately divert them. At the last altar that no one had activated, hundreds of colossal lava beasts occupied the surroundings. Hundreds of giant lava beasts occupied the surroundings. Their bodies formed by lava were like mountains, emitting steaming hot flames. The seven monarchs split into two groups, currently fighting a chaotic battle. No one wanted to give up on this last altar. However, it was hard to determine a victor immediately. There were simply too many princes gathered here. This deterred the latecomers from choosing this altar. This was because occupying this altar would definitely result in the combined counterattack of the seven princes. At that time, just thinking about it would be a headache. The leaders of the two groups were the second prince and the 15th prince. With the help of the other princes, victory was hard to determine. Furthermore, with the presence of the colossal lava beasts, the situation became even more chaotic. Just as the two sides fought, a scarlet war banner descended from the sky. Boom! The scarlet blood royal might that erupted from the war banner swept out in all directions, forcibly separating the princes and guests fighting each other. Xiao Suo slowly descended. Holding the scarlet blood war banner, he looked coldly at the surroundings. Ninth brother! Ninth brother! The second prince and the 15th prince, who were the leaders, were slightly stunned. Clearly, they had not expected the low-profile Wang Yen to act so strangely. Instead of working with the other princes to occupy the altars that were already activated, he wanted to challenge them. However, the situation did not allow them to overthink. Xiao Suo used the Scarlet Blood War Banner to forcibly separate the princes. A golden crow image formed by the solar true flame descended from the sky and charged over. Boom! The golden crow image immediately scattered the many colossal lava beasts surrounding the altar, forcibly carving out a bloody path. Wang Yen quickly followed, using this opening to soar into the air and fly to the altar. Damn it! Stop him! Stop him! Immediately, several of the guests of the seven princes burst out with startling murderous intent as they charged at Wang Yen. They wanted to stop him from ascending the altar. Senior Feng, it's up to you. Hao Kai smiled faintly as he spoke to Senior Feng beside him. Got it. Senior Feng showed a grave expression as he quickly formed hand seals, sending a killing move into the ninth prince's body in advance. The killing move activated from afar. In that instant, a strong wind burst out of the ninth prince's body. This wind blocked the guests who wanted to charge at him. After blocking the first wave of attacks, Wu Meng, Qin Zhuolin, and the Heavenly Book Scholar made their moves at the same time, landing behind Wang Yen. Whoosh! Whoosh! Hao Kai and Senior Feng moved to Wang Yan's sides, helping him block the others. Xiao Suo, who was on the ground, used the Scarlet Blood War Banner to delay the remaining guests. For a moment, Wang Yen walked unimpeded toward the blazing altar step by step. You want to ascend the altar? It is not that easy. The second prince felt enraged. He wanted to draw his yen imperial sword. However, the instant the second prince grasped his sword, a bone-chilling killing intent assaulted him, forcing him to look away from Wang Yen. At some point in time, a long-haired cultivator wearing silver battle armor decorated with dragon motifs and carrying a saber on his back appeared in front of the second prince. Two ice-cold corpses lay at the second prince's feet. When the corpses were alive, they clearly wanted to stop the second prince. Unexpectedly, they ended up losing their lives. The second prince felt a chill run down his back. He did not even know how these two people died. He had not noticed them at all. The second prince's hand, which grasped his sword, trembled slightly. The person responsible for his safety was about to make a move. "Stop!" the second prince shouted. He felt that even if these two people made a move, they would not be able to stop this dragon-armored bladesman. Xiao Qin reached out and grasped the handle of the tyrant's saber on his back. Then, he formed the Buddhist sect's 7-kill seal with his left hand, expanding his killing intent by 7 times. What was even more terrifying was that this explosive killing intent spread out in all directions like flowing water. However, none of it landed on the second prince's body. It was like a lotus flower never touching water or the sun and moon never remaining in the sky. The Buddhist sect's 7-kill seal was real and illusory, putting immense pressure on one's heart. In the second prince's eyes, this dragon-armored bladesman's surroundings were like a boundless hell, pitch black and horrifying. However, the second prince himself was like a lotus flower in clear water, clean and untainted by dust. Strange, too strange. As Xiao Qin walked over, step by step, the second prince felt a mountain-like pressure. Sweat continuously dripped off his forehead. The second prince could not draw his yen imperial sword. Give up or die. Choose. The dragon-armored bladesman stopped and drew his saber by 1 centimeter. Clang! A dazzling saber light appeared like the blazing sun, so bright that the second prince did not dare to open his eyes. Chapter 2305. Forfeit or die. Xiao Qian's words were filled with murderous intent. When he drew the tyrant's saber by 1 centimeter, the second prince's mental defenses crumbled. Bang! 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 The second prince's eyes burned with pain. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he took a few steps back. The second prince stumbled and nearly fell. The other princes endured the immense pressure and stepped forward to support him. "Second brother! How is it?" The second prince covered his eyes and said sullenly, "Go. Don't bother about me. Let's go together. We still have a chance." "Do we still have a chance?" A sour feeling welled up in the second prince's heart. He let the other princes go but not him. It was not that he could not. He did not dare to. This was because Xiao Qin did not allow the second prince to leave. He only gave the second prince 2 choices, either die or forfeit. If the second prince did not want to die, he could only forfeit. The second prince had no other choice. The second prince pushed the other princes aside and shouted, "I told you to go, so go. Don't bother about me. I forfeit." After the second prince's voice rang out, his figure slowly turned indistinct. Then, he vanished, forcefully sent out by the Imperial Ancestral Temple's elders. Whoosh! His 10 guests left with the second prince. Immediately, the pressure on Wu Meng and the others, who were protecting Wang Yen in the air, decreased. Clang! Xiao Qin sheathed his saber and looked around. Then, he fixed his gaze on the other 2 princes with the first prince. Go! 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 The 2 princes' hearts pounded wildly. A chill invaded their limbs and bones, feeling horrified. They quickly called out to their guests and quickly left this place. Ignoring the princes who left, Xiao Qin turned around and looked in another direction. The demon blood vulture was suppressing the 4 princes, led by the 15th prince, by itself. Most of the prince's guests had already gone to attack Wang Yen, who was in the air. Not many remained on the ground. The demon blood vulture was like a blazing scarlet phoenix, dyeing the sky scarlet. Occasionally, it flapped its wings, kicking up a bloody rain and wind. The bloody rain was poisonous and corrosive, and the wind contained inattributed flames. If one was not careful, one would be covered in wounds. Roar! Suddenly, the demon blood vulture opened its mouth, and a horrifying suction force burst out. Rumble! A strong wind blew, and a boundless suction pulled these people towards the demon blood vulture's mouth. The four princes drew their yen imperial swords with unsightly expressions, doing their best to resist. However, Shao Chen still could not avoid the demon blood vulture's suction. The yen imperial sword in the prince's hand could provide him with boundless combat prowess in the Yenwu dynasty's territory. In the ancient Yen Emperor tomb, this kind of support could be multiplied. However, after these princes drew their yen imperial swords, their situation did not improve. This showed how horrifying the strength of the demon blood vulture was after breaking out of its cocoon. When the demon blood vulture saw that it could not devour these things, it became somewhat frustrated. The scarlet flame on its body flared up. His body grew rapidly, and as he spread his wings, everything within 5,000 kilometers was plunged into darkness. Phoenix fire ablaze. Then, it suddenly turned into a raging flame and swooped down. The raging flames instantly covered the ground, burning fiercely. The flames were so large that they were like a vast ocean, the waves roaring angrily. The four princes, without exception, fell into the sea of fire at the same time, screaming miserably. "Your Highness!" When the guests surrounding Wang Yan saw the situation, they were startled. They had no choice but to give up on stopping Wang Yan from ascending the altar. Then, they turned around and landed to save their princes. Wang Yan, who had been approaching the altar step by step, no longer faced any obstruction. He leaped into the air and landed on the altar. Wu Meng and the others heaved a sigh of relief, revealing joy on their faces. Earlier, they had blocked 40-odd sovereign emperors, putting them in a perilous situation. Fortunately, they managed to pull through. On a slope far away from the altar, the seventh prince and his group were observing everything that was happening in this place with great interest. When Wang Yun saw Shao Chen scare off the other princes by himself, he frowned slightly. This Shao Chen is somewhat scary. No wonder he could ruin First Brother's wedding. He cannot be underestimated. The skinny old man at the side smiled coldly and said, "Ha ha! No matter how difficult he is to deal with, he is just a three-veined sovereign emperor in the end. There is no need for your highness to worry." Wang Yun nodded. After some thought, he said, "Right, I naturally know that. How can this prince be trash like second brother, forced to give up without even drawing his sword?" "Seventh prince, look over there." Wang Yun looked around, and shock immediately appeared on his face. He was completely stunned by the demon blood vulture's strength. What demonic pet is this? The skinny old man narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Demon blood vulture. It should be a demon blood vulture. Furthermore, it is a demon blood vulture with a mutated bloodline, continuously reverting to its ancestral state. Interesting." Greed flashed in Wang Yun's eyes as he said, "Demon blood vultures are rare in the first place. One with a mutated bloodline is even rarer. If it were in my hands, it would be incredible. Come, charge with me. Ninth brother is about to reach the altar." Ah! It looked like Wang Yan was about to reach the altar. Wang Yun, who had been waiting impatiently, laughed maniacally and immediately prepared to charge over. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that Wu Meng, Hao Kai, and the others had just finished a huge battle and had not rested yet to take advantage. Wind. However, just as the group leaped off the mound and was about to take action, a strong wind carrying a boundless saber aura surged over. The wind swept up sand and sand, causing the group's clothes to flutter. They could not keep their eyes open. "What's going on?" Wang Yun squinted his eyes and looked forward. He saw a blurry figure slowly walking out from the sandstorm. That figure slowly became clearer in the sandstorm. That figure wore familiar silver battle armor with dragon motifs swimming around it. His facial features were delicate and distinct, and a sharp light radiated from his face. With just one look, Wang Yun felt a solid tyrannical aura surging over. If this was not Xiao Qin, who else could it be? How arrogant! Someone among the seventh prince's guests shouted and used his emperor's might to push back the sandstorm. Xiao Qin, who was wearing the alloy dragon armor, showed a faint smile on his face, not minding it. He allowed the strong wind to blow on his body. As his long hair fluttered, he exuded an air of calmness and calmness. Wang Yun's expression turned sullen as he said coldly, "Xiao Qin, do you think that I am trash like second brother? Do you think that I will give up in fear before you even make one move?" Xiao Qin replied softly, "Naturally not. The reason why the second prince could be frightened by me was because none of his followers were by his side. The seventh prince's guests are around, so he is naturally confident." The moment Xiao Qin said that, Wang Yun felt an irrepressible rage in his heart. He was a smart person and immediately understood what Xiao Qin meant. Xiao Qin was saying that Wang Yun was trash like the second prince, just that he had more guests by his side. The skinny old man smiled faintly and patted the seventh prince's shoulder. "Seventh prince, there is no need to get angry. Leave this brat to me. You all quickly go and occupy the altar. He is buying time so that the ninth prince's guests can recover some strength." "He? Trying to play tricks before me? Young man, you are still too inexperienced." Wang Yun was startled upon hearing that. This brat nearly angered him into losing his mind. Now was the best time to occupy the ninth prince's altar. Wang Yun did not have time to waste with this Xiao Qin. "Humph! Let's go. There is no need to care about him." Whoosh! Whoosh! A group of people soared into the air, wanting to bypass Xiao Qin and charge towards the ninth prince's altar. Xiao Qin closed his eyes, showing a calm expression. Sixth layer Thunder Dao Domain. Fourth layer Ice Dao Domain. Second layer Saber Dao Domain. 3 Dao Domains layered over Xiao Qin's body. The pure Dao might in his body even surpassed that of a small world formed by a 10th layer Dao Domain. Xiao Qin opened his eyes, drew his saber, and drew it. Xiao Qin carried the Dao might that surpassed a 10th layer Dao Domain. The tyrant's saber in his hand erupted with a boundless saber aura. The saber aura soared into the clouds, covering the sky and covering the ground. As Xiao Qin's saber descended, it seemed like it was one with heaven. The guests that looked like they were about to fly over Xiao Qin's head all grunted, as if they had suffered a heavy blow. Blood leaked out of the corners of their mouths as if they had suffered a heavy blow. The boundless saber aura that descended from the sky severely injured them. Then, they fell like meteors at lightning speed. Bang! 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 This saber strike forced back the 9 great perfection sovereign emperors, as well as the 7th prince. The Dao might that surpassed the 10th layer Dao domain made Xiao Qin, who wore the alloy dragon armor, look like a dragon god descending from the heavens. As Xiao Qin held his saber horizontally, he looked straight at the skinny old man. Then, he said indifferently, "I did not agree to let them pass. Your words do not count, mine does.